What is up, everybody? It's Rebecca Johnson of Supergirl Radio. We are going to be talking about Summer of Supergirl Special number 1 for this week's live stream and Supergirl Radio episode. It's a 3-story issue that also comes on the heels of a Lobo comic book issue that we'll talk about. I can't believe they made me buy an issue of the Lobo series to talk about this, but we're going to be discussing that. And I actually have a beef with the 3rd story in the collection because of Superman's history with Supergirl. And we'll talk about that because I actually dug into the Silver Age comics to find the thing that I had remembered in my mind about how Supergirl was treated by Superman regarding Midvale Orphanage. So I found the panel that I think I remember reading as I was reading through the Silver Age comic books. So we'll talk about all that. And I'm still waiting on Morgan, so I will vamp until she joins me. So we will see what happens. Hopefully everything is okay. But if anybody watching has any comments in the chat that I can get to while she is coming to join us, I'm happy to take any questions. We're going to be talking about some news as well, some Supergirl movie stuff that is coming out, Blu-ray, DVD, 4K Steelbook, I believe. There is also an audio book version of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is coming out. I don't think we knew that. I think there was a video that was posted last week. There's a short clip that we'll talk about and a longer, like 7.5-minute YouTube video clip that exists as well that is quite good. So we might actually end up getting a faithful adaptation of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow after all. So that's actually very, very exciting. So we'll talk about that. I don't know if we'll play the audio on the live stream for copyrighted reasons and things of that nature, but we'll definitely talk about it and we'll try to review it. I think it would be fun to actually review it. So Morgan, are you there? I know you're still maybe getting connected. Let's see. Let's check your audio. How are things?
Hello.
Oh, can you unplug and plug back in? Yes. Okay. This is why we do this. Sometimes StreamYard doesn't operate properly. Okay. Let's see. Are you finding your microphone?
How is it now?
Oh, that is good. Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay. I thought it was going to be bad. And I was like, oh no.
No, you're good.
Find the doc.
Oh, I might not have sent it to you.
That's listener feedback.
I may not have actually sent it to you this week. I maybe forgot. So
shocking.
Here it comes. So that is on its way if it hasn't already gotten to you by now. Okay. That's my bad. I did not send it. You don't have it because I didn't send it to you.
Shocking.
That's the problem. But yeah, so we are going to be talking about some news at the top. Then we've got some lengthy, actually like 4 issues of comic books to talk about. And Cedric, TM.
I just wanted to say that Cedric is still in the corner of my desk. I haven't found a place to put him.
I think he should just stay there.
And so he's always going to be available for me during these recordings.
I was thinking about it, and I think Cedric TM.
Just kind of lean on him.
He has more screen time on Supergirl Radio than he did in the movie.
Certainly way more screen time. I think that like, you know, inside, like we know his whole story, like about his backstory, everything here in Supergirl Radio. No, I think we're not going to get that in the movie.
I think we need to write up a story for him. I think we need to make like a treatment or something.
I think we need to pitch to DC that we should get like a 3-issue Cedric.
Do we think he's
Cedric's
like
backstory?
So he's a space alien, but is he like marine life? What is he? What do we think he is?
I don't know.
He wasn't in water.
But he like a little mollusk?
Maybe he's like a little slug of some kind. I don't know.
Oh, did he grow up under DC? We don't know.
Puns could be plentiful with Cedric. So that's we're gonna have to figure out a story.
We're gonna workshop it.
I feel like because we've this might not be a spoiler, but we've tried to see if we can get Tom King back on the podcast because we are wanting to talk to him about how much we enjoyed the comic because we had interviewed him before we actually read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And now that we have and love it so much, we want to talk to him again. And I think Cedric, maybe we could workshop something.
We should like, listen, we're just going to pitch you right now. Cedric's story.
He's probably gone on a lot of podcasts.
And I don't think anybody's asked about Cedric.
Like Supergirl Radio. He's always going to, our podcast appearances with him, super memorable.
Always going to be unique.
So we'll try to see if we can get Tom King. There's a couple other people on my wish list that we're going to try to get. So we'll see how it goes. But for this week's episode of Supergirl Radio, we're going to be talking about the Summer of Supergirl. So that is exciting that they actually released a comic book with the title. I don't think I ever saw a Superman comic book that had the Summer of Supergirl on top of it.
I don't think so either.
Let us know in the chat if you saw that. I don't think I ever saw that like we did last summer. Where the Supergirl book said the Summer of Superman on top. But we got a whole separate thing called the Summer of Supergirl. So that's very exciting. So I suppose if you have the doc now, we can go ahead and get started. And we'll be talking about some news, some comic book stuff. And we got a bunch of listener feedback. So we shall go ahead and get started.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yes! Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the character of Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired to discuss and review Summer of Supergirl Special 2026 #1. This is a collection of 3 stories, or I guess they would be issues. They're kind of like the full size of an issue. With the first story is written by Sophie Campbell, who's been doing the current Supergirl run that we've been enjoying so much. The second story is written by Gail Simone, legendary comic book writer Gail Simone. And the third and final story was written by Mark Waid. Now, I wanted to point out that we were going to stream Supergirl Radio last week, but I got a really terrible headache before we were going to go live. And I just didn't feel like I was going to be 100% to be able to address the Mark Waid section of this compilation.
You gotta bring your best, right? You gotta bring your best. And if you notice my my subhead, if you're watching the video version, you might have already read it. If you're listening to the audio version, you often miss these little Easter eggs on the video version. My subhead I chose this time was I choose the orphanage. So when we get there, we got to be discussing that.
That is going to be a very contentious, I think, part of the podcast for this week. And Morgan, I didn't tell you, but I went back through the Silver Age of Supergirl and found a little something that I think you'll find interesting. It was something that I had in my mind grapes for a while. And I was like, I wonder
if I can squeeze them a little.
I wonder if I can find that panel to really back up my claim. And lo and behold, I found it in about 5 minutes. So we will address all of those things. A little revisionist history from Mark Waid.
A little bit, Mark.
So we have some things we need to discuss about Midvale Orphanage. But before we get into discussing all of that, we need to get to
The news.
According to SupermanHomepage.com, Warner Brothers has released the packaging artwork for the upcoming home entertainment release of Supergirl, confirming the disc's special features lineup. Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The front cover the front covers, oh my God, I'm okay. For the 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and DVD editions all use variations of the film's spray-painted S-Shield artwork with Millie Alcock's Kara Zor-El front and center where she belongs. Unfortunately, I'm also seeing Lobo, but that's okay.
Why is he on the covers? Why?
Get him off. The DVD cover features Kara in her trench coat and sunglasses, headphones around her neck, while the standard Blu-ray release features Supergirl's landing pose. The 4K slipcover brings together the film's central characters, Kara, Krypto, Ruthie, played by Everly, and Jason Momoa's Lobo. For some reason, the back artwork
and his Space Hog. He's got the bike on there too. That's a lot of Lobo in that.
That's
shot.
a lot of Lobo. That's a lot. I think the size that Lobo is, that should be how big Krypto is. Just just kind of like pinch zoom Krypto out to be that large and put him right over Lobo.
Lobo should actually be the size of Krypto in this image because that's the amount of screen time he actually had in the movie.
We should switch those two characters. Prominence.
Yes,
Tiny
I
Lobo,
agree.
Giant Krypto. But they never listen to us though.
They never do.
The back artwork lays out the slate of bonus content, including Flying Off the Page, Girl's Best Friend, A Practical Legacy, The DC Dream, Lobo.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not everyone's DC Dream, but all right. A Showdown at Evely Square.
So I have a question. Obviously that's named after Bilquis Evely, but I wonder what they consider to be Evely Square. Is that in the movie?
Yeah, I know that they mention some location being called that, and I don't remember which location that was. I think so.
Okay, I'll have
guess we'll find out.
Yes, there's a whole bonus feature on it.
Okay, this one's gonna make me laugh. I'm sure you as well. This bonus feature is called "Space is a Bad Neighborhood, Babe."
A line that was on a T-shirt is not in the movie.
It's okay,
but it's on the back of the. It's a bonus feature title,
and then my head just explodes.
So this confirms to me, though.
This confirms that this was in the movie at some point.
So this, all my conspiracies about the evolution of this movie is that if "Space is a Bad Neighborhood, Babe" is a line on a T-shirt in the official DC shop and as a title on bonus features on the back of the disc that's going to be on one of these discs, that means it was in the movie. So please, someone explain to me.
Why would you take it out?
Not only that, but can someone explain to me the Phantom Zone thing that is in the official DC merch? Because that also looks like a line of dialogue that was cut from the movie. And if the Phantom Zone had been in the Supergirl movie, the ending could have been very different.
The ending could have been so different.
So someone needs to explain. I had someone on X.
Explain yourselves.
I'm sorry, we've derailed into this, but this is important. So on X, I put it out there. I put the two shots of the "Space is a Bad Neighborhood, Babe" T-shirt and the Phantom Zone design out. And I was like, does anybody have any ideas on why these exist? And somebody was like, well, sometimes the marketing does things that are not actually in the movie. And I was like, but these are not, I get it with the toys and the action figures where like Superman's riding a motorcycle. And it's like, why is Superman riding a motorcycle? It's like, he's not going to do that in the movie, but like, that's for kids. Kids want to have Superman riding a motorcycle. I get that with like action figures, but these are whole lines of dialogue on these designs. So this is confirming all my conspiracy theories.
Supergirl to like come out of her spaceship and she's eating that Cold Stone Creamery like concoction, or she's got pink berry and she's like, oh my god, I love pink berry. Like some of the stuff that was released with the movie, I was like, okay, I get it, it's tie-ins, but these are like clearly specific lines from the movie. Why would you just put a random line on a T-shirt that talks about the Phantom Zone? Like that one doesn't track to me.
And to refresh everyone's memories, the Phantom Zone is in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It's a big component of the ending.
Yeah, we could be excused for thinking that there is maybe a different version of something.
There might be a different version of this movie that we never saw. So I just want to stop and point out that this digital Blu-ray DVD thing is confirming all my conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I think it goes all the way to the top. So as I mentioned, space is a bad neighborhood, babe. Maybe we'll find out in that. Maybe
What does that mean?
Special feature is all about the merch that was released that did not have anything to do seemingly with the movie, like the Phantom Zone shirt and that line shirt. Perhaps even Cedric TM.
I would love an explanation. I think there should be bonus features.
Explain him. Why do I own this? This is what you get for getting too hyped about a movie and being like, I'm going to buy all the merch. I'm sure it'll make sense to me later and I'll be happy I bought it. And listen, I am happy that I have my son Cedric with me now, but I can't explain him to anyone.
He's giving us a lot of joy, so I'm glad that you have him.
We've seen him more on Supergirl Radio than we did in the movie. That's for sure.
He's got a lot of screen time on the podcast.
The other special features are Mixtape for a Hero, The Making of Supergirl, You Are Here, a Supergirl map of the galaxy, Crypto Saves the Day, ! Coastal Catastrophe, and Deleted Scenes, the thing I'm most excited about. I wonder if Mixtape for a Hero will explain why she was in a Blondie shirt for the whole movie, but there were no Blondie songs anywhere in the movie. And there were opportunities.
I would love to know the answer behind that reasoning. That would be
when she puts on the jukebox. I was like, it's gonna be Call Me, I can't wait. And then that Wet Leg song plays, and I was like, I mean, I like this song, but I feel like we're missing an opportunity here, aren't we?
Yeah. So those bonus features do sound great, and I'm sure we have a fair amount of deleted scenes. It sounds like there was something like 30 minutes deleted from the movie, so I don't know if we'll get all of that, but maybe there'll be something that's worth watching.
Some alternate ending.
Maybe a hand washing scene that was mentioned in interviews.
Hand washing scene I should have had. It goes on to say the 4K Ultra HD edition specs list a 2160p ultra high definition presentation with Dolby Atmos True HD English audio, Dolby Digital English descriptive audio, and French and Spanish tracks. Though the bonus features themselves won't be presented in 4K or HDR, runtime is listed at 108 minutes. As previously announced, a limited edition 4K Ultra HD Steelbook will also be released, packaged with a special mini version of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic that inspired the film.
I think that's the same book. Fun. I don't know if that's the same comic that was given out for IMAX viewers.
I feel like it probably
I think
is.
It might be.
I'm gonna have so many versions of this. I splurged. I was like, you do a Supergirl podcast, treat yourself, girl. And I pre-ordered the Steelbook version.
Very good.
A little comic in it. It's so cute. So I will report back whenever it comes out and I get it, what version it is. But I suspect it's the free version that they gave out. It goes on to say, as previously, all formats include a digital movie code redeemable through Movies Anywhere, with the 4K edition's code valid until September 30th, 2028. A firm street date hasn't been locked in yet, but I expect an update here as soon as Warner Brothers makes it official.
So sometime in the future, we're going to be getting
I pre-ordered it.
Stuff. Yeah.
So this will be fun for me because at some point it's just going to show up. I'm just like, oh, hey. Past Morgan did that.
I have not gotten mine yet. I think I'll either get that. Well, I don't know if I can watch the 4K Ultra HD. Will that play in a Blu-ray player? I don't have a 4K television. I might still get it as a collector's, but then buy the Blu-ray as well. So that's very exciting. So new things, new content from the Supergirl movie is coming. Some stuff that maybe we haven't seen yet. So that's very exciting. Okay, another exciting bit of news that we will be coming in the next couple of months. Random House Audio has announced the upcoming release of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow audiobook. The book description reads, quote, a critically acclaimed sci-fi fantasy masterpiece. Writer Tom King and artist Bilquis Evely's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow features Supergirl like you've never seen or heard her before. Experience the inspiration for the DC Studios film, Supergirl. Inspiration, I would say, is a loose term for that. In this stellar new audio production featuring a full cast, sound effects, and music. Kara Zor-El has seen some epic adventures over the years, but she now finds her life without meaning or purpose. Here she is, a young woman who saw her planet destroyed and was sent to Earth to protect a baby cousin who ended up not needing her. What was it all for? Wherever she goes, people only see her through the lens of Superman's fame. Just when Supergirl thinks she's had enough, everything changes. An alien girl seeks her out for a vicious mission. Her world has been destroyed and the bad guys responsible are still out there. She wants revenge, and if Supergirl doesn't help her, she'll do it herself, whatever the cost. Now a Kryptonian, a dog, and an angry, heartbroken child head out into space on a journey that will shake them to their very core. The audio edition of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow adapts the complete saga, issues number 1 through 8, unquote. So this is very, very cool. So DC Comics released a short little teaser video on their Instagram account, and Penguin Random House Audio's YouTube channel has a 7.5-minute clip of Ruthie going to recruit Supergirl in sort of the alien bar to help her on her mission. So I don't know if we can play that here on the podcast because that might be a little copyrighted. But we have it linked in the video description of the live stream, and we'll have it in the audio show notes of the audio version of the podcast. So you can go and check those out for yourself. But I'm really excited about this because it looks like a word for word, pretty much depiction or adaptation of the story. And I looked up the voice actress playing Supergirl because she does a great job in these clips. She is like my favorite celebrity impersonator on Instagram.
She's so good.
She is so good. Her name is what did I say her name was? Marcella Lentz Pope, I think is how you say her name. She is fantastic. She's a great voice actress. She can do all kinds of voices. She does a great Drew Barrymore, and I want to say she also does a great Adele. And so what I think is really cool about the clips that they released, her voice is really strong as Supergirl. And so she's actually really going for it in this audiobook adaptation of the story. So I'm really excited to go through that, even if it's in audio form. So this might be a pretty faithful adaptation of the book. We might actually get not only a movie version of the story, but an audio version that actually goes through the story. So I'll be curious how they actually adapt it. So that will be coming out, I think, in September. So we'll have to be looking out for that. Do you think, Morgan, that we can do a review of an audiobook?
I think so.
We'll just have to talk about it a lot. Like we won't be able to show images or anything. It's just going to be
just like imagine, if you will.
It's going to be a little more difficult, but I think
I'm trying to think of I know on Legendary Ladies, we did a review of, I believe it's an audio drama that was on, I think, Audible, called Impact Winter. And I think we did, the first 2 seasons of that. So I have talked about an audio drama in the past.
But the cast seems pretty good. And what's interesting about Marcella Lentz Pope, I knew her as just like a celebrity impersonator on Instagram, but she's done a lot of voice work. She has an incredible resume of voice work. And she also has done some DC stuff. So she's been in some Batman stuff. And so I'm really excited that she is playing Supergirl. So I can't wait to have another Supergirl for the summer. Well, I guess we'll be going into the fall of Supergirl. So that'll be really exciting. I'm very pumped for this audiobook version of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Well, I think that's going to end our news section. We had a lot to cover, but I think all good stuff. So let's get into talking about the comic that we came to discuss. So this is going to be Summer of Supergirl Special 2026 #1. The description for it reads, quote, "The quiet town of Midvale is shaken to its core when Supergirl finds herself face to face with the galactic bounty hunter Lobo. Can the Maiden of Might stand up to the main man?" Plus 2 bonus stories celebrating Supergirl as she resumes her rightful place as the heir to L, unquote. So I think we should mention, though, that there is an issue that is referenced in the editor's note that comes before this issue. So, Morgan, were you able to read the Lobo #4 issue?
You know, it's funny because I had a whole week to do it, and I meant to, and then I forgot. I gotta say, in my defense, it was about Lobo mostly, and I was like,
well, I feel duped because I did read it. And
okay.
They tricked me into
These
buying a
editors'
Lobo
notes.
issue.
How dare they?
I did not want to do it, but
against your will.
against my will, I had to buy Lobo #4 so that I could understand what was happening in this story.
Now,
Really,
was there a good amount of Supergirl in Lobo #4?
there is a fair amount. A lot of it's fighting. But I will, if you need to, I'll bring you up to speed in terms of the summary of what happens in Lobo 2026 #4. So the story is basically Supergirl versus Lobo. And this is the lead into Summer of Supergirl Special #1. So Lobo, I guess he lost his bounty hunter license, but he gets it back. And for whatever reason, once he gets the bounty hunter license back, he decides he's going to go with a friend of his to do a smash and grab to break into what's called the Fortress of Solitude, which is not the Fortress of Solitude you're thinking of. It's actually a cheap knockoff miniature for tourists. So this is like a fake Fortress of Solitude. So he and this buddy of his are going to go break into the Fortress of Solitude. Lobo tells us in the issue that Superman was using this knockoff fortress as a Kryptonian storage unit when the OG spot on Earth got too full. I've never heard of this. This is something that just happened in this Lobo #4 book. Because this is a thing that Superman has been using, he's got stuff in this sort of fake Fortress of Solitude. This is why Supergirl comes into play, because Lobo comes into contact with Supergirl and Krypto. They find out that Lobo is there to steal some stuff, and Supergirl and Lobo start fighting. It's a drag out, sort of very, very violent fight. And Krypto and Lobo's dog, DAWG, they get into some trouble. The issue says they were, quote, causing more than just a little trouble, unquote. And so at the end of the issue, Supergirl and Lobo get thrown into jail because everybody's been fighting. So that is what leads into the Summer of Supergirl Special #1 with the first story that's titled Main Man's Best Friend. And as always, the credits for this, we like to read out so they get proper credit for it. The writer for Main Man's Best Friend is Sophie Campbell. The artist and cover artist is Belen Ortega. The colorist is Triona Farrell. And the letterer was Becca Carey with assistant editor Jillian Grant and senior editor Brittany Holzer. So, Morgan, what did you think about this first story in the issue? We did get to meet some new characters and see some other characters that we knew that were coming back. So what did you think about this one?
I liked this one. This one, no spoiler alert, this one was my favorite issue in this special, which if you had like described it to me, I probably wouldn't have said that. I was like, I would have been like, that much Lobo? I don't know. But I thought it was really fun. I like how they have Supergirl at the trial with her defense attorney, whose defense is like, oh, Supergirl was so helpless. She couldn't have possibly done it. And Supergirl's like, excuse me? I don't think that we talked about this defense, which I thought was really funny. I like that they sentence Lobo to some kind of a rehabilitation program that he has to go to, so that Supergirl has to take care of his dog.
Dog.
And I like that when we see Dog hanging out with her and Crypto, he seems like he's just having a great time. Just kind of being a dog. She's like taught him how to, do like housework around the house and how to help people, and he's like doing yard work. He does go after Streaky, but that's sort of a little on Streaky as well.
Streaky was antagonizing him a little
Streaky
bit.
started it a little bit. Not to defend Dog too much, but Streaky started it. And I thought this one was a fun one about, how Supergirl and Lobo are so different, but the thing that they have in common is that they love their pets.
Yes.
And so that they can relate. Also, both of them are maybe a little bit hot-headed when it comes to getting angry, and don't always think about things all the way through, which is how they got into the trial situation in the beginning. And then towards the end, when he comes back and they start getting into a fight, she does lightly destroy Midvale a little bit, but she, I like that they then put everything back together, and there's like a really funny montage of Supergirl and Lobo like helping organize a garage and like planting a tree and putting back up a fence. And I feel like this has to be something that happens to Supergirl on like maybe a weekly basis, where she's like constantly going back in Midvale and like fixing people's houses. I thought that like throughout this issue, the absolute non-reaction of all the people in Midvale as all their yard and their house was getting destroyed just kind of points to the fact that they're both used to this and already expecting Supergirl will fix it up. There's one part where Lobo throws Supergirl through somebody's house, and she says, and Supergirl's like, I'll repair the damage right after I take care of this. And the little old lady is like, I know you will, dear. Just be more careful. It's like this is sort of just a day in the life of living in Midvale. It's like sometimes your new fence will get destroyed because a super dog is chasing a super cat.
Mrs. Hopkins has been through some stuff.
She has seen some stuff. Nothing bothers her. Nothing even shakes her a little bit. She sees Lobo coming up on that space hog, and she's like, I don't care at all.
I get the feeling that this is not the first time that Mrs. Hopkins has had to have Supergirl rebuild something for her. Even there's another neighbor, I think his name is Mr. Anthony. Like, he's real chill too. He's like, it's good to see you, and she's like ripping up his yard and stuff. So I think that the neighbors really handle all of this very well, because I guess if your neighbor's with Supergirl, she could rebuild it for you. You probably this is getting into the weeds, but like you wouldn't have to like file like an insurance claim, I guess.
She just
if
comes
you
back
have
over.
Supergirl.
Everything gets destroyed, sure, and probably pretty regularly. But you don't have to do any paperwork. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to pay any money. She's just going to come over later on. She's going to feel kind of bad about it, and then she's going to fix your fence. And you're like, okay, well, in the grand scheme of things, weird afternoon.
I mean, you could move from Midvale. You could leave Midvale,
but then you know what you would be missing out on. The mac and cheese sandwich from Midvale Munchies.
It is apparently legendary. Have you ever had a mac and cheese sandwich? I've
never had a mac and cheese sandwich. And I was reading this going like, that does sound like it would be good.
So,
would the bread get soggy though?
Do you think it's just mac and
like
cheese
if you just
in two slices of bread?
Mac and cheese on a sandwich. Like, would the bread get soggy? That would be my concern. I guess mac and cheese is like, depending on how cheesy your mac and cheese is, it's not like throwing like a full bowl of pasta on there. But
also, why? I guess I have a lot of questions about the mac and cheese sandwiches. Why would you put it in bread?
Yeah, it's
mac and cheese. I feel like should be eaten by itself.
It's not really something that needs bread.
It doesn't need it.
I'd argue, in its purest form, it's already quite good. Do we need to plus up a mac and cheese?
Is there a kind of bread that would make it worth it?
One of God's purest creations.
Like, I was trying to think, like, I don't think I would eat mac and cheese on like wheat bread. I wouldn't eat it on white bread.
That's what I was also
like sourdough bread, like bagels.
White bread,
what are we talking about?
White bread, absolutely not. Like, when I think of mac and cheese on a white bread sandwich, I think that's actually gross. But so you'd have to do some trial and error with the kind of bread, because it would have to be a very specific kind of bread. Because I don't think a lot of the breads would work with mac and cheese, because it's not meant for that.
Okay, I looked up mac and cheese sandwich on the interwebs, and I think a lot of people, what they're doing is they're doing like a grilled cheese sandwich with mac and cheese.
Okay, but that's like different.
That makes more sense. To have it like toasted. Maybe. Okay. You could use the mac and cheese as the grilled cheese.
Yes, I am seeing that.
Yes.
It feels like cheating a little bit. It feels like cheating a little. I feel like you should just slap that mac and cheese on there and just hand it to somebody and be like, this is mac and cheese. This is what you wanted, isn't it?
I think doing it as a grilled cheese sandwich makes more sense.
I think it does. Yeah. That to me makes like logical sense. Although I've had things that haven't made sense that are decent. Recently at Panera, I discovered that they took the bread rolls that they sometimes give you if you like get like a soup or something at Panera. They'll give you like a little side bread, and they just stuffed the bread roll with like a salad.
Oh,
so it's just like a French baguette with a salad stuffed inside. And I thought this will either be hideous or it'll be okay. And it was pretty good.
It was okay.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
So if they can stuff a salad into a French baguette, why not put some grilled cheese on a sandwich? I don't know that it's needed.
At hi, it's me. UK7MQ says, like a mac and cheese bread soup bowl. Is that my dinner tonight? I think you should try it. Let us know how it goes.
Report back.
Maybe do like, if you have mac and cheese, make mac and cheese and use it in a grilled cheese format. Let us know how it goes. I might try it. This weekend.
You're gonna try it? Okay, please report back. Report back. Now, I was intrigued. I was like, I don't think that this needs to exist, but I wouldn't mind knowing what it tastes like.
I was picturing it as just in between two slices of bread, and I was like, that's weird. I don't get it.
Why would you do that?
But as a grilled cheese sandwich, I can maybe get behind this.
Yeah, it's like mac and cheese grilled cheese is like one of the recipes I'm seeing from a site called Something About Sandwiches. So I feel like this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yes, that site knows what's going on.
It's just all sandwiches. So, if he's telling you to do it, oh wow, there's a lot of steps.
You should just be able to slap some cheese in there. I think it should be fine.
Best bread to use. And then we'll get back to the comic, I promise, guys. It says you want fairly large and thick slices so the bread doesn't collapse into the mac and cheese. I usually go for a nice sourdough.
I could see that.
You need the bread to have some structural integrity.
Good tip. So everyone should try it and report back and let us know. supergirlradio@gmail.com. Include pictures if you can.
Let us know. Report back, please.
Because Midvale is known for its Midvale munchies, which are these mac and cheese sandwiches. Everybody seems to love them in the book.
There's a really funny moment where she brings the mac and cheese sandwich for Dog so that Lobo can give it to Dog and he can forgive Lobo for being away. And when Lobo's like, what is that? All of a sudden everybody in Midvale turns around like it's a musical, and they all say at the same time mac and cheese sandwich from Midvale Munchies, and the font is really big and dramatic, like the Supergirl font sometimes is when she introduces herself as Supergirl. And it made me laugh a lot. Everybody looks psychotically happy. There's one guy who's just kind of doing a fist pump in the background. He kind of came from nowhere. He's leaning out a window, and it just made, I was like, okay, this is the kind of stuff that this run does that I think is so funny. I was like, congrats, that really made me laugh.
Okay, but realistically, if your diet was mostly made of mac and cheese, wouldn't you be the happiest person alive?
Well, some of us have some lactose intolerances.
Well, in that case, it would maybe not be so great.
Just me with like a giant like bottle of Lactaid being like, I can do it.
I can do this all day. Yeah, so these people are really, really happy about their mac and cheese sandwiches.
They're living their best lives.
They are living the best life. Yeah, so this story, I enjoyed this one as well. No surprise. I think I can maybe speak for you as well, but I think we've really enjoyed the Sophie Campbell take on Supergirl, and she's done such a great job. So she's having to take what happened in Lobo #4 and sort of develop that into the Supergirl run. So I guess this would kind of technically be part of her Supergirl run in terms of some of these issues. And I think she did a really good job of being able to find thematic elements, actually, even in this kind of sillier story, comparing Supergirl and Lobo, like you said, with their dogs and how they treat their dogs, I think is a very Sophie Campbell thing to do in this run. So I really quite enjoyed this one, and the art I thought was very good. A lot of the facial expressions and the way the emotions from Dowg, I thought were actually quite good. I sort of understood the things that he was feeling. And so it was interesting because, Supergirl points out the things that she thinks he's feeling. And then the art is actually demonstrating it. So I thought the art in this one, just like all of the Sophie Campbell run, is very, very good.
I also like from the art perspective in the beginning, as the issue begins, which is usually what happens at a beginning.
Yes.
Lobo is explaining what happened and how it wasn't his fault. It was all Supergirl, and you kind of see it in his from his perspective, which is like a little bit crazy looking, but also like he talks about being on a date with Princess Shark. And he's like in a fancy tuxedo, and he's got like the one white piece of hair is like swooped like elegantly to the side.
They look really bougie.
And they're like, oh, why is Supergirl doing this? And then it goes like back into real life. But I just thought it was really funny, like seeing his perspective of what happened to get them to this point.
Yeah, Lobo tries to make himself look good by saying he was on a date with Princess Shark, and I like that it cuts to Princess Shark in reality, and she's like, I do not recall saying that, and I certainly was not on a date with this man.
Princess Shark is like, no.
That never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
I also think it's really funny that he, both him and his child, who like pops up later, have like a huge thing for Princess Shark, especially since I learned that like, what is it, like he loves the space dolphins.
Yes.
So now I'm starting to think that like Lobo just loves marine life.
I think that's a good. I did not connect the space dolphins to Princess Shark, but I think you're onto something. He must enjoy marine life. Yeah, this was a character I was not very familiar with. Crush, I think, is her name.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Crush. When Crush popped up, I was like, huh? What? Who is this? At first, I was like, wow, Lena has gotten too goth in this run.
I mean, it could have been Lena. But this is definitely a new character, Crush, who looks very similar to Lobo with the eye makeup and the leather jacket kind of things and the skull belt and all of that. So it was interesting to get to see her perspective in interacting with Princess Shark and eating the famous Mountville Munchies mac and cheese sandwiches. So we got a little bit of an introduction to her there. So I thought it was a good issue. Any other thoughts about this one?
No, not really. I mean, I enjoyed this one. I liked that we got Princess Shark in it. I think Princess Shark is great, and as many times as they want to bring her back in this run, if it makes sense. I'm always a fan of Princess Shark popping up from time to time, just hanging out, because as we know, poor Princess Shark is just kind of stuck there for right now. So.
Yeah, I don't know how she functions out of the water, but I'm willing to go with it. Whatever. If she wants to just walk around the town and not be in the water, that's fine. I'm fine with it.
we're supportive of Princess Shark. I like that Dog ultimately forgave Lobo, because obviously Lobo loves his dog, and Dog is a very good boy in whatever capacity he needs to be for that moment. I thought this one was really fun. I thought this was my favorite of the stories in this anthology, and I thought it had like a very it makes sense that it has like a very Supergirl vibe, like the current run, because it is written by Sophie Campbell. But I thought it was really well done. The art was really, really good. The facial expressions were great. No complaints about this one. Even though it had a lot of Lobo, I think he was used well, actually.
Yeah, I think this one is the best one of the 3 stories. Even if they tricked me into buying a Lobo issue, and then I had to read another Lobo issue. So I ended up reading 2 stories that had Lobo in it with Supergirl. So they have suckered me into this, but I thought it was good.
By the end of this summer, we're both going to end up as Lobros.
That is going to be the inevitable conclusion of the summer of Supergirls, that we become Lobros.
That Lobo's not that bad. Mind the Gap said Crush and Lobo almost had a cartoon, I think, but COVID shut it down. Interesting. I didn't know. Again, I am not a Lobro, so I don't know like the Lobo lore, but I didn't realize that Lobo had like an established like kid that was named Crush.
Is the demand for that so strong?
Everybody is asking for the Lobo and Crush show.
We can't get like another Legion of Superheroes thing, but
no,
they're going to do Lobo and Crush.
Lobo.
I mean, good for the Lobros. They almost had that, so maybe one day they will. They're really in their prime here.
We're rooting for you guys.
Okay, so the second story in this compilation, I guess, this 3-issue story is titled Lost Girls. The credits for this one, and let me while on the video, let me pull up the credits here. For the live stream, folks. The credits on Lost Girls are writer Gail Simone. The penciler was Emma Kubert. The inker was Sandra Hope. Colorist was Trish Mulvihill. The letterer was Arena. I'm trying to think. That's like Bill Marr. So maybe Arena or Ariana Marr. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. I think that's maybe closer. Ariana Marr. The assistant editor was Jillian Gritt, and senior editor Brittany Holzer were on this story. So, Morgan, what did you think about this story involving Supergirl and Mary Marvel of the Shazamily?
This one was a little bit more confusing for me. I think it was because it starts with this robot, and then it has something to do with these people who got like Luthor Corp plant, that like cybernetics plant that got fired recently, like or laid off, and they're like taking revenge. It doesn't really, that's not like a big deal. It seems like it's going to be more of one, and then it kind of never pans out. But Supergirl is fighting this robot. And then Mary Marvel comes and comes to the rescue because the robot has kryptonite, has like covered itself in kryptonite. And
I had a lot of questions about that, though. The covering, how did the robot get a hold of the kryptonite? How is the robot is it like liquefied from the robot? Like, is the kryptonite like melting on top of the? How is the kryptonite coming to like be part of the robot's hands?
I know it's like when you have like a not that big of a page count, like you really have to condense some things. But I feel like what the robot was capable of doing and how wasn't explained really to me, and so the robot would just keep doing things, and I was like, all right, I guess it can do that. Because later on, the robot, Mary Marvel, spoiler alert, shows up to save Supergirl and does her like Shazam thing, and the robot takes her lightning powers. The robot is like dressed in the Mary Marvel Shazam costume and is like, okay, it's me. I've got the Shazam powers now. And then apparently the way to get it back was to just say Shazam again. And I was like, I mean, Yeah, I guess those were a terrifying 5 seconds where she had that costume on, but it's a little bit anticlimactic.
I do think it's fun to see a robot looking like Mary Marvel.
The robot was really working that look.
So that was fun. I did have questions about stealing the thunder.
Yeah.
So how does that work exactly? So she says I'm overthinking this. I realize I'm totally overthinking this. But she says Shazam, and does the robot like move into the location of where the lightning is coming down? It seems like that would happen in a split second. So how do you steal the thunder from Mary Marvel?
It's really confusing. She can apparently do like an analysis on Supergirl, find her weakness, and then turn into kryptonite somehow. I think it kind of explains it, like, artificial kryptonite permutation 79%. Although it does say artificial, it makes me wonder if it's like, is she sensitive to fake kryptonite?
So is that like on the Supergirl TV series, Maxwell Lord created a synthetic red kryptonite.
Oh,
so
okay.
Maybe this is kind of like, it's not real kryptonite, but it's enough, I guess, to have the same effect. I don't know.
Yeah, and then she, it says something about response. The robot says response selected DNA chaff emitted. What does that mean? I don't understand what that means. And then she steals Mary Marvel's Shazam powers.
So does she steal the DNA? Does she steal Mary Marvel's DNA? Is that
There's
how the
also like a very confusing bit? Like after she steals it, when she's in her outfit, she's like, "I'm stunning. I'm working it." She says, "You only made the unit more powerful." And you know what, girl? I agree. You look great. But then she does this whole thing where she's like, "S is for Superman robots, like H is for Our Man," and it's like spelling out Shazam.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? Like, what does that? It doesn't make any sense to me. She's like, H is for Our Man, A is for Mazo. Oh, are you just naming people you know?
So that happens in I'm trying to remember what it stands for with the actual Shazam.
Is this
character.
like a thing? Is this like a well-known thing? Because I'm not that well versed in the Shazam verse, like the Marvel, Mr. Captain.
So
Captain Marvel.
It is a thing. Shazam's name was an acronym derived from the 6 immortal elders who grant Captain Marvel his superpowers. Shazam spells out Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. So it is a thing. So it makes sense that the robot would start listing out like S is for this, H is for this, A is for this. So I think that makes sense. But
the people that she picks, is there a reason for it that I'm not getting? It's possible.
Maybe it's just like Our Man was a character that started with an H.
Okay, I buy that.
Like, I don't know who Z1 is. Do we know who Z1 is?
I get it. The robot was riffing. When I got to Z1, I was like, you know what,
okay.
Morgan, maybe you're just not meant to know.
Z1 is the leader of the Missilemen.
Okay.
I don't know who are the Missilemen. Okay, we're gonna learn some stuff tonight.
I'm ready.
The Missilemen in DC Comics are mindless robots made in the likeness of their creator, Z1.
Wait, is Our Man a robot?
No, I thought he was a guy.
I thought so too. I was gonna say it would make sense for me if these were all like robot characters.
So
for the robot to be like, shout out to all my robots, but we're my ladies in the house. But I like, because she mentions the Superman robots, the Metal Men. That sounds like a robot kind of thing. I don't know. I could be wrong. Z1 seems to be a robot, but the other ones, I was like, I don't know. I don't think that they are.
I think they were just. She could have. She could have said Hank Henshaw, who was Cyborg Superman.
Yeah.
That's a missed opportunity to use Cyborg Superman.
I mean, we all love Our Man. We all do. I love doing things I love doing like a lot of useful things, but just for 1 hour. I call it chore snacking. I do a lot of chores, but I'm gonna only do it for an hour, just like Hour Man. He's inspired me. But it just felt very random, like the names that she ended up using to spell out Shazam, and I was just like, is this supposed to mean something to me? And I feel like I just overthought it.
So Amazo is a robot.
Okay.
Anomaly in DC Comics, the being called Anomaly is actually a clone of former gangster Floyd Bullets Barstow. So
okay, so
Anomaly is a clone.
So Hour Man is starting to feel like the
the odd man
out here.
Well, let's see. Did Hour Man ever have a robot?
So Mind the Gap says 1 Hour Man was a robot. Is that a different guy? I don't know.
Okay. We are discovering some things.
Okay.
I think your question about this is really opening up some doors here. Okay, so there is an Hour Man named I don't know if all Hour Men are named Matthew Tyler, but Matthew Tyler
I don't think so. Isn't it usually Rex something or other?
Yeah, it's something. So this Hour Man, real name Matthew Tyler, is an android from the 853rd century and a member of the Justice Legion Alpha. So I think you're right. I think they are all robots.
At some point, they have all been a robot.
So credit to Gail Simone. Deep cuts with the robots.
It's Gail Simone, so I feel like I should have expected. That's kind of why I was like, there has to be a meaning to this that I'm not getting because I just don't know the lore. But I feel like we got there eventually.
Yes, I think we have connected dots.
Each individual thing.
So, but Metal Men, for whatever reason, I thought Metal Men was just like a team up in DC Comics. Are they technically all robots?
Let's see.
Liquid metal robots. Okay.
Oh, I guess they are.
Okay.
Well, a lot more robots than I thought.
Confirmed. Okay. All right. So all of the Shazam robots are accounted for, I think. She even says the S for the Superman robots. I feel like S for Superman robots is a little bit of a cheat.
That's definitely a cheat, but I'll give it to her. But we're stretching. I think we're stretching now.
We'll count it, I guess.
K for Calyx.
Too bad there wasn't a K. I think that's a given. But yeah, so I guess the robot is able to take Mary Marvel's powers, but she quickly gets it back, and Mary Marvel's looking great in her suit. I think that this is actually fun for me because Otto Bender had a very the co-creator of Supergirl had an affection for the Mary Marvel character, so I always enjoy it when Supergirl and Mary Marvel get to have to share a story together. And I thought I really enjoyed this one in that Mary Marvel of the Shazamily looks up to Supergirl. She doesn't just look up to Superman like most people do. She actually technically and very specifically looks up to Supergirl as one of her heroes. And so I really, really enjoyed that. And they bond. There's a nice little bit of bonding that they do where Mary Marvel considers Supergirl not even just like her hero, but like a big sister. She wants her to be a big sister, and they bond over being in the sort of the foster care system and the orphanage.
The orphanages, which, by the way,
it's going to lead us right into the third story.
Put a pin in that. We'll return. We'll return to the orphanage, unlike Superman. Anyway, hey-o!
So I like the idea that Mary and Kara here are bonding over being the most powerful girls in the world, but also having this sort of loneliness that they both kind of deal with. I thought it was a nice sort of Supergirl Easter egg touch to have the chromatic super comb in there.
I was so psyched when the chromatic super comb came out, and then she did she does her hair, her blonde hair. She uses the comb to make it brunette, but then she uses it on Mary's hair to make it like a bunch of different colors, like a fun ombre where it's like pink and purple and like blonde at the bottom. Mary was like, "This is great. I wish I could keep it." All right, let's put it back.
I wonder if with the chromatic super comb, can you tell it what hair color you want it to be? Because I think if you just
wonder.
guessed,
maybe it's like connected like psychically to Supergirl, and she can be like, she can think to herself, ombre.
yeah,
This is
maybe so. Maybe so.
if I could take anything from like the Supergirl bag of tricks, there's definitely more useful things, but I think it would be the comb, because I could like try out different hair colors. I could be like, girl, that's not for you, not that one. I could see like every different color hair, and then I don't have to commit to it. I can go right back.
That's true. That's true. So the chromatic, I've never seen any other character in DC Comics use the chromatic super comb. I've only seen Supergirl use it. So I think that is a very Supergirl thing to put into the story. The only problem I think artistically with that is, so this is going to seem like a really stupid comment, and so I apologize for even saying it, but in comics, sometimes comic book artists have a hard time distinguishing between characters. Sometimes the like, if they draw two dudes, like this happened a lot in like Silver Age comics, where you would have Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne in there, and they look like the same guy. They both were, tall, handsome guys, but both of them had black hair, and they look like the same man. So sometimes that I think about that sometimes, and so then when they use the chromatic super comb on Supergirl, and she turns her blonde hair brown, then she and Mary are looking very much like the same character. The only difference is one of them has a red jacket and one of them has a yellow jacket, and one's maybe taller than the other one. So I was sort of paying attention to that as a technicality, but I guess you can distinguish between the two of them enough so that it's not that big of a deal. But I did want to point that out. That was something that I paid attention to as things were going in with that story. So I don't know if anybody else had trouble with it like I did, but it was something that I was paying attention to throughout the reading of this issue, or this story in particular.
Yeah, I noticed that too. There were a couple of times when especially when they were both brunette at the end, when I was having a hard time telling who was who. I was like, I think that's Supergirl. I think that's Mary Marvel, but I had to kind of squint.
Yeah, you need those jackets to be able to track who is who.
You truly do, yeah.
But I think it's a sweet story of these two girls bonding over being superheroes, and finding some similarities in their backgrounds, and just getting together as people. At one point, Mary's like, "Hey, let's hang out, but let's do it outside of our super suits. Let's just be regular people." So I did enjoy that a good bit. So, and I think there is a dedication at the end of this story.
Oh, yeah.
I think I wrote it down. Well, no, I didn't write it down. It was basically dedicated to.
Yeah, and now of course my Kindle thing is like cutting off the bottom.
It's very small too.
The Kindle app is truly a terrible on desktop. This story is dedicated to, and then I can't zoom in,
to the orphaned.
Yeah, I think it's like to the orphan,
adopted and foster children of the world. May you find the family you deserve.
Oh, yeah, so, I like that. I like them connecting not just about being superheroes, but also having lived in orphanages, having been, away from their, biological families and things like that. I really liked them connecting on that level as well. And I also like them connecting on the level of like, yes, we're superheroes and everybody and we were expected to save the day and all that, but everybody kind of expects our more popular kind of teammate, and is kind of just or maybe like doesn't asks, where's Captain Marvel, where's Superman when we show up. And so I thought it was cool to kind of see them from that perspective, like how much stuff that they did actually have in common.
I mean, I would be way more excited to see Mary Marvel than I would Shazam, but that's just me. But I think that is a good point, that Superman and Shazam are very similar in that they are sort of the, I guess for lack of a better term, like the heads of their super families, if that makes sense.
I think that does, yeah.
Yeah. So, Morgan, if you are having any problems with your ring light,
it doesn't look like it's working this time.
It's
so I'm
it's
turn
fine.
it off.
That is totally fine. I think we can all see you. I think we're good.
Okay.
I think you're still visible. Has Bunsen? Was it Bunsen who destroyed the ring light the first time?
It was Bunsen. This is like a second ring light, because the first one he knocked it over with his head. He headbutted it right off the table, and then I looked over and I was like, "Oh, that's broken. That's just fully broken."
So I wonder if Bunsen's going back at it.
Maybe he's
like when you're not looking.
He's working on it. He's got a plan for this one. He's like, I'll get this one too.
So don't worry about that. I think you are good to go. Okay, so that is the second story. So I think we need to talk about the third story here, which is, if I can find my credits, the story is titled "Who is Supergirl?" And the credits are Mark Waid. The artist is Kayan Tormey. The colorist is Alex Guimarães. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering these names. The letterer is Steve Wands, and the assistant editor is Jillian Grant, and senior editor Brittany Holzer. Shout out to Jillian and Brittany. They've been working on a lot of things, so I appreciate the consistency with these two.
They've been doing a lot of Supergirl stories, so we appreciate it.
It's always nice to have a very consistent team in telling these stories. Okay, so this is a story where basically, if I remember in my notes, I'm trying to get the setting. We're hanging out in the Justice League Watchtower. Superboy, John Kent, and Steel, Natasha as Steel, are talking about Supergirl's history, and Natasha is learning more about the character of Supergirl and what she's been through in her life. So Morgan, what did you think about this story?
So they're cleaning up their digital archives, basically. And all of the data has gotten corrupted and has moved around. So they're trying to clean up all the data, and they have to clean up the data on Supergirl. And they're like, some of this stuff doesn't make sense. Welcome. I'm trying to read these comics sometimes where you're like, wait, what's going on now? I feel like you could just play the clip of you explaining Matrix Supergirl to me and me being like, but what do you mean she's goo? She's protoplasm?
Wait, she merged with a satanic cult member?
Wait, what? Is she an angel? So yeah, trying to explain some of Supergirl's eras to people sometimes it's difficult. I couldn't even adequately explain Gooper Girl to my husband when he was reading Woman of Tomorrow, and Rebecca was like, you ask her about Matrix Supergirl sometimes, and I was like, I am not going to give you an adequate explanation. Just know that she's mostly goo. Like, what? And also a little bit of a cult leader. Maybe follower.
She's probably killed a guy.
She's killed a guy for sure, though.
She kind of dated a demon, so...
Yeah, things got a little weird. Sometimes you want to rebel. And I like that when they have the lineup of all of her different... all of her costumes, different costumes, and they've got the Margaret one really front and center.
I am so glad that the Margaret costume was included.
This Margaret costume is getting a real renaissance. And I'm glad for it.
I wonder, I hope Margaret is still with us. And I hope she's seeing her suit pop up in all these issues.
I'm hoping Margaret knows how important she is to us personally. She was ahead of her time. She was a pioneer.
Margaret, the fan who submitted her dream Supergirl design, got into a comic book, and now people are recreating it. Amongst some of Supergirl's most memorable looks, I mean, there's the New 52 in there. There's the Daring Adventures of Supergirl era, kind of in the late 70s, 80s is in there. So Margaret's suit is right up in there with all of those sort of classic Supergirl suits. So I appreciated that they did bring that into play with the visuals, because Supergirl's look has changed over time. She sort of played with different super suits over the years. So I was glad that made part of her history. What I also got a big kick out of the characters are sort of talking about the things that Supergirl has done in her life. And, they talk about the different eras of Supergirl. They talk about Argo. They talk about her being sent to Earth. They talk about some versions where she's caught in suspended animation. They talk about Crisis. And they mention Matrix Supergirl, where in quotations they say there were others who took the name while Kara was gone, unquote. That would be the Matrix Supergirl. They reference the Jeff Loeb run, and they even have a kind of a nod to Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow at the end. But the part of her history that I thought was so fun, because I love, and I know that Sophie Campbell also loves this era of Supergirl, which is like the 70s and 80s, which I highly recommend to people. Like the Silver Age is a great read because it gives you the sort of the basics of Supergirl mythology, and then of course you need to read the Sterling Gates run and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and the Peter David run is bonkers, and you should read it. But that period of 70s and 80s is actually really quite enjoyable. And so this section was sort of referencing that, where they were like, so what did Supergirl, what did Linda do? What was her job? And they talk about her being a magician's assistant. They talk about her being a TV news camera operator, which is one of my favorite things. They talk about her being a student advisor and a soap opera actress, which we've talked about on Supergirl Radio. And they talk about her being a med school psychiatric student. So
the med school psychiatric student was a new one for me. I was like, I don't remember hearing about this one. I've certainly not read it.
I'm wondering if I don't know if she was in med school, but she does. I think that's when she encounters Psy for the first time. I think that might be referencing the stuff with Psy in Daring New Adventures of Supergirl. I think that's my guess. I don't remember her going to med school. I don't remember that in any of my reads, but there could be some issues that I missed.
But I feel like you could tell me she did anything and I truly would believe it. I was like, oh, sure, that makes sense.
The time when she was a TV news camera operator is when she encounters Nasty Luther most.
Oh,
that's kind of that era where she's working at this TV station with Nasty. So
we got to put that on the list when things calm down.
when we run out of things to talk about, we're gonna get into that 70s and 80s era, because I think you would really enjoy it, Morgan. It's so fun. So that's the time period I always tell people is when Supergirl stories went from the Silver Age and became. The Silver Age was very formulaic, and then the 70s and 80s, it became, the storytelling was a little more sophisticated and actually was trying to be a little more serious and like take it seriously. And so I really appreciate that era. So I understand why Sophie Campbell loves that time period, because I do as well. The big beef, though, that I have with this issue, I mean, it's really cool. It takes you through these various time periods in the story, and we get some nods to Supergirl history. But the one thing that I think is doing a little bit of a revisionist history on is that Mark Waid gives an explanation of why Linda, aka Kara, aka Supergirl, goes into an orphanage. And this made me kind of sit back and go, I'm sorry, what? Mark Waid, let's see, I'm trying to remember what exactly okay, so Mark Waid writes in this issue.
Some choices were made here.
Yes.
That I was like, Mark, I don't think so.
He says that the choice to go to the orphanage was actually Kara's choice, and she begged to be placed somewhere around kids her own age because she had a fear of being alone. The issue says specifically, quote, she voluntarily immersed herself in the culture of kids her age, unquote. And Morgan, I got mad about this because this is trying to like exonerate Superman for being a jerk, for ditching her in Midvale Orphanage.
We're doing some free PR for Superman in this Supergirl book, right? No, I don't like it. Think so, Mark. I don't think so. Oh yeah. Totally. She chose the orphanage. The children yearn for the orphanages.
They do not want a family who loves them. They want to just be an orphanage.
No, thank you. It's the orphanage for me. I watched Annie and I was like, I don't want any parts after she gets adopted. I only want the hard knock life.
I only want the Miss Hannigan portions.
It was so wild. It like stopped. This like stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" She requested.
She begged Morgan.
She begged to be left at the orphanage.
Please let me go to the orphanage.
Please, sir. I need to be around the other kids, famously not present in school, where I'd have to go anyway.
It's a real choice to have done this in a Supergirl book, to say that Superman, it was not Superman's choice to put her in the orphanage. She chose to do that.
She chose the orphanage.
Unreal.
I like to think that, like, if this was true, Superman was like, hey, so like you can go to this super cool place where there's like a ton of people your age and you get to hang out all the time and eat popcorn. And sometimes you guys sing musical numbers, not about how hard life is, mind you, but about how great life is. Or you could go live with like my old parents on their old stupid farm in the middle of nowhere where you never see anyone your age. Anyway, which would you like to do?
That's how he sold it to her.
and then she begged for that orphanage.
That would actually line up with the behavior of Silver Age Superman.
It really would.
To manipulate her into begging for the orphanage.
She said she wanted to go. Can't blame a guy for trying, right? He drops her off.
The only time I think Superman has ever had to answer for that, leaving her in the orphanage, was actually in the Sophie Campbell run.
Yes.
Where they have Thanksgiving dinner. Princess Shark was there. She witnessed this. Where they actually address it with Superman about the orphanage situation. So Sophie Campbell was actually the only one in the history of time. They sort of try to
uncool, brah.
They kind of sort of do it on the Supergirl TV series, but not really. So Sophie Campbell is the hero of Supergirl mythology, being like, "What's up, man? Why did you do that?
That was seriously not cool." Superman was like, "Ooh, somebody's finally calling me on this one."
So, and the reason why this, in addition to all of that, that makes me upset, is that I had a memory of in the Silver Age of Supergirl, where Superman tells Supergirl that she cannot get adopted until he says it's okay.
So
I have had that memory in my mind for like probably 10 years. And before we started streaming and having our discussion, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to scroll through my Silver Age anthologies and just see if I can find that panel. And lo and behold, I found it from Action Comics number 275. And this is Superman saying to Supergirl, she's kind of talking about wanting to be adopted. And he says, cheer up. Someday, when I feel you're ready, you too may have foster parents. When I feel you're ready is what he tells her.
Silver Age Superman is so funny. He's like truly the worst.
He is truly the worst.
Even she's like, someday sounds kind of distant.
So this is the Superman Mark Waid is letting off the hook by saying that Supergirl begged to be put in the orphanage. So this is why I wanted to make sure I was in tip-top shape to discuss this episode.
We gotta talk about. Well, I also think it's funny, like this is the anthology, but it kind of connects into the Sophie Campbell run. And the Sophie Campbell run, like, explicitly addressed, as we talked about in that Thanksgiving issue, Superman leaving her at the orphanage. And then this one's like, no, you don't understand. She loved the orphanage so much. I know she was like sad and lonely and everything, but like, wasn't that great? Didn't that build like great character?
It's character building.
It's character building. She really wanted to live in the orphanage.
To Superman's credit, in the Sophie Campbell run at that Thanksgiving dinner, Superman was like, yeah, that was kind of a jerk thing for me to do.
You know what? I goofed.
Yeah, like he owned up to it. So kudos to Superman as written by Sophie Campbell. The Superman, though, by Mark Waid, I feel like was manipulative and did not present the choices correctly. I think Morgan is right on that.
I think he presented the choices like this comic presents the choices. Like she could be out on the Kent farm, just with nobody but cows and old people, or she could be with some hip, young, cool kids, just like her, living together and mopping the floor, singing a song, and then eventually, someday, when she felt ready, she could allow herself to be adopted. No Superman input anywhere in there.
Superman did not control her life in any way.
Yeah, everyone loves the orphanage. That's what they're famously known for. So.
Yeah, so I did have big beef with this one, but I did appreciate the attention to details with Supergirl's history. And so I think if you opened up this issue, you could get a good sense of her mythology and what she's been up to over the years, through her suits and through the information about her jobs and some of her actual character history. So I think this issue does a good job with that. I just had a real big beef with that orphanage part of it that I just was like screaming. It was like screaming internally about what this was
What
saying.
do you mean? Yeah, I liked all the callbacks to like her many costumes. I liked the listing of her many jobs, and like little shout outs to different eras of Supergirl and like the Woman of Tomorrow, of her sitting there with the sword behind her and things like that. I thought that was really cool. My main problem was that she chose the orphanage. I was like, sure she did.
Sure, that really adds up. I do like the way this one ends with Natasha, aka Steel. They ask her, and did you get what you needed out of all of that? Talking about Supergirl's history, and she says, "You mean like a new personal hero?" Absolutely. So I think that's a good way to end that, and I think it's interesting just in the time period that we're in. There seems to be a real move towards having Steel / Natasha be friends with Supergirl, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm always in favor.
The Super Family Vacation.
Yes, correct.
As Supergirl's friend when they almost go to Argo.
They're so close.
Close.
They get there at the end. They
get there at the end. We don't get to go, but they do.
They made it, so that's good for them.
I did look up one thing. So I looked up the Supergirl being a psychiatric student. And the AI says that in DC Comics lore, Supergirl famously enrolled as a graduate student in criminal psychology during the 1980s, The Daring New Adventures of Supergirl series, which was set in Chicago.
Yes.
So I think that's what they're referencing, and not something. I think med school was what was throwing us off.
Yeah. I think that's in reference to the first appearance of, maybe not the first. I don't know if it's the first appearance of Psi, but that's when Supergirl encounters Psi. It's over the course of, if I remember correctly, a couple of issues. So that's good stuff. So definitely read it if you haven't checked out Daring New Adventures of Supergirl. It's good stuff. I think those are all my thoughts on that last issue. So Morgan, are you happy with a comic book that was actually titled Summer of Supergirl Special? I'm surprised that they did it. So I'm glad.
I was excited. The Summer of Supergirl. We've been hyping it up. The people have been hyping it up. I think it only deserved a special. I thought the special was really fun. I thought all the stories were enjoyable, and they talk about Supergirl, and she's the main character, and they talk about her history and what makes her interesting and unique. So I thought this was great.
Yes, I am glad that we actually got something that was very official as being the Summer of Supergirl to make it a special as well. So this was a pleasant read, and I really enjoyed getting to see her history highlighted and getting even though we got maybe too much Lobo in there, it was fun to get to see her really thrive in these different kind of stories, showing different relationships that she has and different characters that she interacts with, and teaching people about the history of Supergirl along the way. Let's see. Just before we wrap up, at Chatties763 says it's Mark Waid himself who has been pushing this orphanage nonsense since 2022. Orphanages aren't even a thing anymore in the US. Needless lore like that should have stayed in the Silver Age. So has Mark Waid been pushing for Superman to be let off the hook for a while?
I guess so. It sounds like it.
Interesting.
This is a campaign he's been
he's been trying to make sure that Superman does not have this stain on his character anymore.
He's like, listen, I know we're all mad about what Superman did, but have any of us considered that she wanted the orphanage?
I guess we'll leave it at that. But yeah, so I think it's been really fun to see all these Supergirl stories and get to see it in the form of a special. Okay, well, I think before we get out of here, we need to get into some listener feedback that we've gotten. We've gotten some emails continuing to want to talk about the movie and some of the things that people have sent in. So Daryl sent in some thoughts about Supergirl starring Millie Alcock, writing, quote, when they announced they would be removing Woman of Tomorrow from the movie's title, that was the first red flag for me. That's fair. That's really fair.
Really fair.
In doing that, they would be under no obligation to follow the source material. I think Lobo is in the movie for the same reason Supergirl had a cameo in the Superman movie. They plan on launching a Lobo project in the future. I doubt they would let this turn into another Joe Manganiello. I always mispronounce his name. Manganiello?
I never
moment
know.
where I think one of those must be right. When he came, I used to know it very well, and now I don't.
I did too. I haven't had to talk about Joe Manganiello in a while, I think.
Deathstroke from the DCEU. Yeah. So I used to know it. So apologies to Joe for mangling your name. When he cameoed at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League for a project that went absolutely nowhere. I think we have to ask ourselves a big question about the screenwriter. Why wasn't she given a partner on this project? This movie has faced a lot of criticism online from critics who have no idea what they're talking about. While this movie isn't perfect, it's hardly the first bomb DC has ever had. That's true. At least we can hope that DC will learn from the mistakes of the past and actually take their time instead of rushing into another teen movie in an effort to poorly imitate Marvel, unquote. I think that's really interesting about the thought about them rushing into things. Before the movie actually came out, I was under the assumption, because they talked about this, they were like, the script for the Woman of Tomorrow movie is like the greatest thing, it's always one of those. This is the greatest thing that we've ever seen. It's such a great script. And so I had a lot of hope in that if the script was good, then the movie would probably turn out pretty well. And so it is kind of hard to figure out kind of what happened with all of this, but I think that's fair. I mean, I think some people can write films on their own, and some people do better with a partner. So it just kind of depends on how people write, I guess.
And also, like, the process from script to screen is often very circuitous. So, like, you don't often see the exact thing that you saw in the script end up being the exact movie. Like, a lot of things tend to change, a lot of things tend to move. The scripts goes through rewrites, and it goes through drafts, and sometimes they cut and then when it gets to the editing, the final movie gets to the editing, sometimes they cut things out, as we were talking about earlier, as perhaps there was a much more prominent role for our Cedric in the script. And maybe that's what the marketing people were working off.
There was a whole storyline that they got rid of.
There was a whole storyline.
Justice for Cedric.
He was going to be like a new character that everybody knew and loved, and then they had to cut him. So it's tough to say. We're judging the final movie, but it's tough to say what the original script that they got looked like. I suspect different than the end product of the film that we got. So
that could be very true.
Yeah, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen in Hollywood, from the different people who work on it to the executives, and you've got Warner Brothers, and you have DC, and you've got all and this person and that person. People are having differences of opinions, so sometimes the end result is not the first thing that everybody started out with. So
especially if you have a movie that's like a $200 million budget, a lot of people are going to want to have a say in that. It's one thing if you make a movie on like a shoestring budget, an independent movie, and you can just kind of make the movie you want to make because there aren't a lot of like stakeholders involved. But with a big budget Hollywood movie, it becomes more important for other people to chime in.
Yeah, in college, I did some PA work, and I ended up working on a really small movie. I don't think anybody's seen it. It had some names in it, but and I remember early on reading the script to just kind of see what is this about, and then the finished product, it was similar, right? But there was some stuff that was in the script that didn't make it into the movie, and that was a small movie with a small budget. Anything that I would be allowed near is not going to have a huge budget. So I can imagine when you get to the scale of spending hundreds of millions of dollars on these big tentpole movies, that there gets to be even more input, and sometimes that's helpful and sometimes that's not.
Most oftentimes it's not.
You don't really want that many cooks to be in the kitchen.
There's too many cooks.
There's kind of a whole saying about it. It looks like in the chat they said Hi, it's me UK said the original script was a fun musical orphanage movie led by Lobo.
That's a real choice.
It's a hard knock life for Lobo.
Was Lobo the Miss Hannigan of this?
Probably, right?
I could buy that.
I might watch that, honestly. Again, by the end of the summer, I think I'm going to become a Lobo. I wouldn't hate seeing Lobo do a musical.
I've got to pull you back from the brink, Morgan.
It's happening. So Aaron also wrote in with some movie thoughts, saying, it was a good, fun movie. I thought the world building was great. It had some good action. I love the main Supergirl score, Supergirl Suite, and all the actors did a great job. There were moving and touching moments throughout the movie, and I really did care about the main characters. I don't like the choice that Kara made at the end to kill Krem, but that is a personal opinion that I would have and have had about many a movie. I like Kara's character otherwise, though, and this movie is a great story that tells girls and women that they don't have to be perfect to be good, that your life that came before does affect who you are now and has a potential to affect your future, which is why Ruthie shouldn't kill Krem. One weakness I saw was I think there could have been more on who Kara was on Earth, or more specifically, who she was expected to be on Earth, that led her to this birthday escape that she felt she needed. I feel like that's pretty fair. It's not really in the source material, to be fair. We don't really, but I think the source material just kind of assumes that what Supergirl's got going on in general, and then is she's taking a break from that. But in the movie, we've only really met her for a second at the end of Man of Tomorrow. No, Superman, sorry. They're all just called Superman and Supergirl.
Yeah.
They don't have unique names yet. But we see her for a second at the end of Superman. So yeah, we don't really know what she's escaping from her trauma and everything like that. But we only see a second of her life on Earth, to be fair to Aaron's point. So it would have been nice to get a little bit more Earth time.
Yeah, I don't think you need it in the movie, because I think the movie sort of plays it like the book, where she's dealing with the survivor's guilt of her birthday, and she's still the only one who survived the situation that she did. And so her birthday would always be a tough thing for her to face. But you could have shown I think there were some glimpses of her time on Earth, but not enough. If you really wanted to go in that direction, I think you would have to do more.
Aaron goes on to say, I love Ruthie. Overall, she is a strong, brave, smart girl that is curious and open to learning from those around her, while still keeping her own sense of self. Lobo is a fun character in the movie, and I think they shouldn't have had as much of him observing things towards the end of the movie, but rather just let him go on his merry way after he collected his bounty. To me, Krem is unremarkable, but that's okay. Other than his strength of 1,000 men, he was a regular being that lives in that universe. Kara is not trying to be a superhero in this movie. She just wanted to party and forget her issues for a while. So I think it makes more sense that her villain in this movie isn't a mustache-twirling arch enemy type. Mustache-twirling arch enemy type. I feel it was a good balance, making him a stronger than normal man that is just strong enough to make most in the universe afraid to betray him and capable enough to be competitive with Kara, but not someone who has been gunning for her for years or something like that. The trafficking plot line was sort of thought-provoking, but I thought it could have been executed better. To me, the girls that needed help were like NPCs in a game or like an object that needed to be dealt with, but not really humans. I would have liked to have seen more of some of the girls or brides as individuals, and they could have had one or more that played a crucial part in the rescue, driving home the point that you don't have to be so physically a Supergirl to do good in the world.
So
And
I have a question for you, Morgan. Sorry to interrupt, but instead of so there's a mom and a dad who have a daughter who's been trafficked.
Yes,
but she dies. They kill her, and
she does not make it.
What if she had survived? Would that, to Aaron's point, would that have made that human connection if you got to know one of them?
You know,
I don't know, just a thought.
I think that's a good point. I also kind of felt this about that storyline, which was not that I had like a problem with it per se, but I didn't feel like it was developed enough. So, and I felt like the girls who were being trafficked and the brides, quote unquote, because it's kind of how they refer to them, didn't really get any like I agree with her, like they didn't get any development. Just having they had that one moment where they help her out, but it's like it's a couple of seconds. I think it would have been nice for them to have had a little bit more agency, or a little bit of character development. Yeah, like to your point, if the daughter had survived and then maybe we had learned like more about their plight, even from like a short conversation with her, I think that would have done more to kind of humanize and like give that storyline a little something extra.
You could even had some of the brides in that prison cell with Ruthie when she's trying to break out. Like there are other places that you could have put some of those characters in if you really wanted to.
And they didn't have to be like fully fleshed out characters that like you knew and care about, because you know there is a lot of stuff happening in this movie. But I think to your point, if Ruthie had been in with them, like talking to them as she's trying to escape, I think that would have done a lot for the scene later on where it looks like they're all going to die, for the audience to feel more connected to them and be like, oh no, that was like that girl that like talked to Ruthie or connected with Ruthie or something like that. Like I think that there could have been a way to kind of give them a little bit of character and make the audience care about them as more than just like, oh, she needs to save them because they need to be saved.
Yeah.
Aaron goes on to say, and I think it could have been very powerful if Ruthie saw them decide against revenge for revenge's sake when it comes to Krem. I think they could have secured Krem in some other way, and that would have made the decision to kill or not kill him a more powerful one. If there is no other way to contain Krem, then that weakens the moral dilemma around killing him. If he is contained in some way that changes the choice to kill or not kill him, it would have made the choice only a function of revenge and not a necessity, which I would argue makes for better, more thought-provoking drama.
That's a really good point. I guess in the movie, I guess to Aaron's point, is she saying that Supergirl killing Krem is
like the only choice?
Is the only choice, but
I mean,
I think
I don't know. Like I guess I don't believe that this is a in all of space there's not a prison somewhere. That
in the DC universe there's not a space prison that they could have put him in.
Perhaps flat, perhaps tumbling through
triangular
space.
Shaped.
Perhaps there's like a lot of cabinets when you get inside.
And
a lot of warehouses to organize.
Dementors.
And Dementors. Famously the worst part of prison.
But I think that's a good point that Aaron brings up, that if And I think we talked about this before. If the movie had given Ruthie a chance to try to kill him, that would have been like a choice that she's making not to. She could have taken revenge, but she chose not to, like the book does. So I agree. I think that's an interesting way to look at it, as whether or not it's a necessity.
Yeah. Aaron goes on to say, now when you see this compared to other works, comic books, or superhero movies and TV shows, one can argue that there are some things that can feel familiar to others and some things that could feel very different, and that presents two separate problems. I would argue many movies today, regardless of genre, have the problem of being too tied to a checklist. Ooh, I can't speak within their genre. Many times our entertainment isn't given enough of a chance to be unique in varying ways because the bold takes don't fit in the checklist. So it's not allowed to be explored or left on the cutting room floor. So I did feel at times that this had that checklist: action in a confined space, action scene in the reflection of something or the background of a scene, popular music during a fight scene, and the song is slightly different from the original, so it seems more unique and so much more. But this movie had enough good qualities to keep me engaged, even while seeing some of the checklist stuff. That was how it was similar to other things, but there were also ways that it was different, and I wish that it felt more like something else that came before it. Here I am mainly talking about Woman of Tomorrow, but it's not only a matter of the source material, nor am I arguing this should have been a scene-by-scene recreation of the book. There were some large topics that were covered in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow that I would have liked to have seen in the movie. I have also seen other movies broach some of these larger topics more successfully, like Superman did last year. I could name other examples, but to keep this short, I know it's already too long. I just wanted to say I wish there were some of the big topics that were present in Woman of Tomorrow in this movie. Lastly, on criticisms of this movie when taking the outer world into account, Lobo, although yes, he was a fun character, and yes, Jason Momoa is a great pick for casting. Lobo, I felt like he was thrown in this movie to have something for a certain type of fan to latch onto, a fan who may not have seen this movie otherwise. I don't think it's bad to try to reach many different audiences, but in this particular case, it felt out of place. I did like him at times, and I'm not saying that because he is not in Woman of Tomorrow, they can't put him in the movie. But I felt during some of his parts, I thought they didn't need him to be there, or should have made a better argument of why they did need him there rather than him just being there. In your review of the movie, someone suggested that Lobo was the metaphoric devil for Ruthie to Kara's metaphoric angel, and if the creators could have fleshed that out a little bit better, I think it would have been a great addition to this movie. Whether in a vacuum or compared to other things in this world, I like this movie, and I'm excited at what this new Kara Supergirl is and what she can be in the future.
I think that's a great email, and I think a lot of us are having our criticisms of the movie, but also being like, we enjoyed it. We thought it was good. There's a lot of problems with it, we think, but it was a pretty good movie. I would agree with Aaron that there was a literal shot in the movie of Lobo where he's just sitting on the Space Hog watching.
Oh yeah, happening.
And I was like,
that's right. It's like,
what are you even doing?
It's like, what's going on?
Why does he need to? I think his presence in the movie should have had a bounty on Krem.
I agree.
That's my final thought on Lobo.
And if they wanted Krem to be, killed, I feel like they could have just had Lobo do it.
Yeah.
Like maybe Ruthie, like Kara and Ruthie, like make the decision, like we can't do this. We're not going to kill Krem. And then just like Lobo, like just comes in, like lops his head off and was like, it's easier to take it to the bounty this way.
Yeah.
And then just leaves. And that would have been, honestly, that would have been fine for me. I was like, oh, okay, that's why Lobo was in this movie.
That would have been an actual function for him in the movie. So I think as much fun as it is to see Jason Momoa as Lobo, there is a story. You need a storytelling reason for him to exist. So I think those are all really, really good points.
I also saw Mind the Gap in the comments said, I just look at the art of Woman of Tomorrow and wish the Supergirl movie was like an 80s dark fantasy movie, something with like Henson style puppets and special effects. And
could we have had a Supergirl movie that had Henson puppets?
I love that idea so much. Like, yes. Give me Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow Dark Crystal version. And I'm perfectly happy. I do think like they did a fair amount of like practical like effects and like real, like instead of just having CGI creatures in the background, they had people in like real practical makeup and stuff.
Yeah, real makeup.
I did really appreciate that. I thought that looked great. But like, yeah, I do think that there was like a wackier version of this movie that I think would have been even more enjoyable. But man, thinking about Supergirl with Henson puppets is like missed opportunity.
That's the dream at some point. I think that's
hashtag goals.
Hashtag life goals, Supergirl and puppets. Okay, well, Mark sent in some more movie thoughts, writing, quote, first, Morgan, thank you for pointing out that Anna Nogueira had all the access to Tom King she needed if she was unsure about the ending of the book. I don't know if she was afraid they think she was stupid if she asked or what. But what worries me is that she's also writing the Wonder Woman and Teen Titans films, and if she's unwilling to ask the experts for clarification, that's a bad sign. I think that also is something to talk about, that she has been given other opportunities in this world. So hopefully she does reach out to some creators to get clarification on things moving forward. That would be very good. And then Mark goes on to talk about it's too big and we're too small, which is, I think, something that's set in Woman of Tomorrow, the book.
Such a good line.
Yeah. What is a recurring theme in the book that never, ever appears? It never, ever appears in the movie? By putting Crypto on a 3-day timer, the movie added urgency, but had to give up the chasing of the brigands across the galaxy. That meant they lost the scene where Kara is goading the giant purple lady to hit her, and that scene is key to showing something we don't get in the movie. Kara isn't just traumatized, she's suffering from survivor's guilt. When she tells the giant, "You're not large. If you were large, you would have saved your family. You're small." I think she's really talking about herself. She's not large. If she were, she would have saved Argo City and her family. At that point, Supergirl is kind of a twisted joke to Kara, because what does it really mean when her family is dead? And all of this rich character development is completely cut from the film. I was so happy to listen to your review of the film because I know your criticisms were honest and not a bunch of nonsense coming from a place of bad faith, unquote. I think that's a really good point, Mark, to bring up that sort of thematic thing that they were doing to talk about Supergirl's Kara's survivor's guilt and what that means for her as a hero to be able to save people when she couldn't save people when she was small. So those are very cool thoughts. Thanks for sharing them.
And I really agree. I think maybe even said as much in the review that I really agree what Mark said about the addition of adding the ticking clock for Crypto's life. Like, while it gave the movie a sense of urgency, it took out the ability for them to have Ruthie and Kara kind of meander
to go on an odyssey
and go on a journey and kind of go on an odyssey, if you will. Taking a long time, taking as much time as you want, doing some side quests before you go back home, you know?
And we could have seen it on the biggest screen possible.
And then if they had done that, obviously you'd have to see it 70mm IMAX, which would have been all sold out. And you would still have not seen it. Yeah, but I do think that like adding the time element was like a blessing and a curse. It like gave it some urgency, but at the expense of allowing them to have this be kind of a space adventure and a journey, and where they could make difference. Like, you can't do the blues and the purple stop if there's a 3-day time clock, because she spends quite a bit of time there. Or like, you know, when Supergirl is like helping that planet, like, you know, dig up the graves, you would think, yeah, do you have time for this? So they had to really streamline down the story by having that ticking time clock. And I think it was like ultimately a little bit detrimental to the story.
I think the literal ticking time clock for Crypto also takes away from Supergirl teaching Ruthie a lesson. In the book,
I mean, in the book, yeah, he's actually fine the whole time.
He's actually fine the whole time. She chooses to go with Ruthie because not to save Crypto. I mean, saving Crypto is important in the movie. That's great. But she goes with Ruthie because she knows if she doesn't, Ruthie's going to kill this guy, or at least die trying. And so she's trying to teach her a lesson about how revenge is not the way. And so that I think actually is a cooler thing for Supergirl, because it shows her as a mentor and as somebody who can actually help this young lady make good choices. And maybe not even young lady, like kid. In a lot of ways. And so I think when you turn that into a ticking time clock, even though it cinematically works, it does remove some of those other elements from the comic book, which did have 8 issues to tell that story.
Yeah, I agree. Our next email comes from Riley, who sent us an email writing, "Dear Rebecca and Morgan, I've been meaning to send this email for years, and after almost 9 years of listening, it finally felt like the right time." Oh my God.
We have been podcasting for a long time.
That's rough to know. Riley says, "I've been listening to Supergirl Radio since 2017. I was 13 years old when I found the podcast, and now I'm 22 and getting ready to finish my bachelor's degree with honors this November." That's all so
Congratulations.
Cool. Congratulations. They say, "It's kind of surreal to realize I've spent almost my entire teenage years and early adulthood listening to you both every week. That is also surreal for me to know." But so nice. That's so sweet. Over the years, you've talked a lot about how Melissa Benoist's Supergirl became a role model for so many young girls. Looking back, I honestly feel like I could say something similar about both of you. Oh no, this is going to make me emotional. Oh, that's so sweet. When I was younger, comics became much more than just a hobby for me. I have OCD, and one of the ways it showed up was through becoming intensely interested in the things I loved. For me, that was superheroes. I completely immersed myself in the world of DC Comics, especially Supergirl and The Flash, and wore superhero shirts almost every day throughout middle and high school. Unfortunately, that also made me an easy target for bullying. There were times I felt like I should hide the things I love or pretend I wasn't as passionate about comics as I really was. Listening to Supergirl Radio changed that. Oh, hearing two women laugh, dive into comic lore, disagree respectfully, and genuinely enjoy this world made me feel like there was a place for fans like me. It wasn't just dude bros online talking about superheroes anymore. You showed me that women could be just as passionate about comics and superheroes, and it was okay to be proud of what I loved. Oh no, this is really getting me. I'm so sorry. Oh, shake it off, Morgan. It's just emotions. I'm still just as much of a fan today. I love supporting my local comic shops whenever I can, and I even watched all of Legends of Tomorrow so I could keep listening to Morgan on Legendary Ladies. I appreciate that, and I hope you enjoyed Legends of Tomorrow. That show was bonkers. Riley says, "I also have to give a shout out to some of my favorite Supergirl Radio memories. The Comet the Superhorse writing contest, the Working It or Wiggy episodes during COVID, and honestly, just hearing your friendship grow over the years. Those episodes always felt like hanging out with friends who happened to love Supergirl as much as I did. The last 2 years especially have made me appreciate the podcast even more. I ended up finishing the remainder of my bachelor's degree online, and while it was the right decision for me, it also meant giving up a lot of the community that comes with being on campus. Between taking 9 credit hours every month, working a full-time job, and trying to have some sort of life outside of both, it hasn't always been easy to find much of a comic book community, especially people around my age who share that same excitement. Supergirl Radio has honestly been my comic relief through all of that." Oh, that's cute. "Every new episode has been something I've looked forward to each week, whether I was driving home from work, catching up on homework, or just needing a break from everything. It reminded me that there were other people out there who love these characters just as much as I did. During a season where life has felt nonstop, that's been a bigger gift than you probably realize. One of the things I've always appreciated most is that neither of you has ever seemed interested in loving or hating something just because everyone else did. Whether it was the TV show, a comic run, or a movie, your opinions always came from a place of genuine passion for the characters. Even when I disagreed with one of you, I always appreciated hearing why you felt that way. Thoughtful discussions like that are becoming harder and harder to find online."
And I will say, just to interrupt you here,
please.
I have always felt that is really important, to be able to have a discussion where you mutually respected the other person and really wanted to hear what the other person said. Because I feel personally that if we can't do that about Supergirl, how are we going to do that about politics and environmental concerns and faith issues and all of these big things that we have to think about on a bigger scale in life, philosophy, science, all these big things. If we can't have a respectful conversation about a Kryptonian who shoots heat vision from her eyes, how are we going to be able to have these kinds of conversations with other people about much more serious, bigger conversations? So I am always grateful that Supergirl Radio has been a place, and I'm glad that other people see that this is happening from us, because I think it's a good way to practice. This is podcasting with you, Morgan, has been a really great way for me to practice that, to be able to talk to somebody, because we have disagreed on a couple of occasions, not all the time, but every other time. But sometimes we have a different perspective, and it's always been really valuable because we see things a little differently, and so that adds more meaning to the discussion, I think. And so I wish more people would practice that, because sometimes when I see people just have hatred in their hearts online or even in person, I'm just like, I feel like you feel that way because you don't understand that other side of things. And so I just wish more people would practice that. So I'm glad that that comes across from our discussions. And I just hope that people find that valuable to hear that being practiced.
Yeah. And like, we love the character of Supergirl. Obviously, we love these characters, but at the end of the day, these are fictional stories about fictional people, and I know that some fandom spaces can get really intense about that, but at the end of the day, you have to take a step back and be like, that's just like your opinion, man. Like
you become the dude from the Big Lebowski.
Like your opinion, man. It's if somebody likes something that I thought, oh, that was not very good, who cares? If somebody hates something that I was like, that was the best thing ever, I love that so much, also, who cares? It doesn't change the outline of the thing that you're talking about. So you can have a perspective, and obviously it's always great to hear from our listeners, and I think it's been so nice to hear from them, especially on the movie was a big topic, but when the show was going on, some of the comics that we've read and covered, I get we get a lot of different perspectives coming in. People who like certain aspects of stories or hate other things, or, like what we like or don't like what we don't like. And I think that sometimes in communities, it can feel like you can only kind of agree, but I think genuinely we want to hear whatever you guys are thinking about. And if, why did you like it? Why didn't you like it? It doesn't matter if we liked or didn't like something, if you're like, oh my God, the what was the animated movie universe that we watched all the movies?
The Tomorrowverse.
If you were
it was nonsensical.
Like the Tomorrowverse, you guys are really wrong about the Tomorrowverse. Here's why. I absolutely want to hear that. Tell me why I'm wrong about that, because boy, those were crazy. That was a journey we took. I think I always hope that we make this podcast a welcoming community where you can bring your thoughts and your feelings, and we want to talk about it.
And that's always been something that we have been intentional about, is making it a space where people feel like their voices are heard and that their opinions mattered, even if we disagreed with them. So I'm really glad that people feel like that. And so I really appreciate the effort to share that, because that feels like the thing that we wanted to happen is happening, and we're actually able to practice all of that. So that's actually very rewarding to hear.
So Riley goes on to say, since I'm finally writing in, I wanted to ask a few questions I'd love to hear your thoughts on. So that's fun. Riley, the first one is, comparing Woman of Tomorrow, the 2026 Supergirl movie, and the TV series, how similar do you think the relationship between Kara and Ruthie is to the relationship between Kara and Alex? They're obviously very different relationships, but both become the emotional heart of their respective stories. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how those dynamics compare across the different versions of Supergirl.
That's a really interesting point, because I don't know that Supergirl and Ruthie doesn't, I don't guess, necessarily get to a sisterly dynamic. But it's definitely a 30 Rock term would be mentor-mentee.
The mentor-mentee relationship.
So I think Kara and Alex are definitely
Kara is Ruthie's Jack Donaghy.
Yes, I like the way that you have put that. I think there is a difference between having the sisters, the Danvers sisters, versus what Kara and Ruthie are, which I think could be like Ruthie could be like Kara's little sister, I guess. So I guess in that way, you could get there maybe if they continued on that relationship between Kara and Ruthie. I think you could get them to the point where they feel like family, because really they are not exactly orphans. Like, they have family members. They don't have a mom and dad anymore. Yeah, the two of them don't. So they could see themselves as like a found family. So I guess you could compare them in that way.
Yeah, I think that the relationships are a little bit different in terms of like Ruthie is kind of learning from Kara and looking up to Kara, and Kara and Alex are on a little bit more equal footing. If anything, I think Kara kind of looks up to Alex as like the older sister, and Alex kind of feels that same sense of like, I need to protect Kara. I have to do
I
this.
need to protect my sister, who is the most powerful woman in the world.
Listen, Kara's in trouble and I need to help. I'm just a squishy human and she's invulnerable. But that was sort of the vibe on the TV show. And I think it's kind of a similar vibe, but flipped in the Woman of Tomorrow story, where Kara feels like she needs to look out for Ruthie. So I think that is interesting. It's kind of like a flip of the dynamic from the TV show and the movie and the comic. But I do like how Riley put it, that they kind of that relationship in both of those becomes the heart of the story and is like the primary relationship in the story. And the best parts of the TV show to me were always when it's focused around the sisters and their relationship. And I think the things that work best about the Woman of Tomorrow story is that relationship between Kara and Ruthie. So I think in that way they're similar, but Kara and Ruthie, like we said, have like more of a mentor-mentee relationship. Riley's second question. I remember listening to your pilot episode on the way home, and with everything that's happened since then, I was curious if either of you ended up sticking with it. Between all the time travel, family mysteries, mysterious children, and constantly changing lore, it feels like the kind of a show that would make for a really fun discussion. If you kept watching, what did you think?
Well,
Riley,
we have some good news for you. We have reviewed every season. We haven't recorded a season 4 final season review yet.
We will, though.
That should be coming. But we do have all of our reviews on the Supergirl Radio Patreon for $5 a month. You can watch all of those if you choose to do so, because we have lots of thoughts and feelings about the way home.
Lots of thoughts and feelings. In fact, I'm constantly texting Rebecca when I was watching The Way Home, and was just like, what's happening. My spoiler is, if you haven't watched The Way Home, like, just earmuffs. But my spoiler is, I like how many of their own family members they have managed to like time travel murder. I think that's endearing. It's like no relative is safe from these people, really.
The frustrating thing about the end of the Way Home, and I don't think this is like a huge spoiler, but it ended the way I was hoping it. Like, I was hoping the show would end with them throwing concrete over the pond.
That's
so
what
that
I thought it was. I like that the way that this show ended is by them learning nothing. They learned nothing. They learned and they grew and they went in different directions, and ultimately they came right back to the beginning and they did a stupid thing right at the end.
Right at the end, they kept time traveling for no good reason.
Just kind of feeling it, because you know what the thing is, Rebecca, is that they probably have other relatives that they haven't killed yet.
They gotta check them off the list.
I think that there's a twisted version of The Way Home where it's a horror movie about somebody going back in their own
serial
past
killers
and serial killing their own relatives.
That I would watch.
Listen, this spin-off to The Way Home is going to make numbers. I hope somebody's listening.
Because what if they encounter a relative in the past who is a serial killer?
Oh my
God!
And
then
decide
to go.
And mouse game.
But they can't time travel into the future. Well,
no. Well.
What? No, the people of. Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch. Okay.
All right.
So someone in the past is a serial killer in the what was their family name?
Oh my God.
The Landrys.
The Landrys.
So somebody in the Landry family from the past is a serial killer and comes to their present and tries to kill all of them. Kat and Alice and Dell and all of them. And
they're like, the only way to prevent this is to go back in their past and kill one of their ancestors.
Kill
and
that person.
Just keeps going.
Yes.
Just like a really bad Back to the Future, but like
and then at some point they just erase the entire Landry family, the family lineage. I erase it completely.
In the chat, hi, it's me. UK said, on the way home, no way home.
Yeah, so to answer your question, we have a lot of thoughts and feelings.
We never stopped watching. We never stopped believing in Time Travel Pond, as I call it.
Even that show was the most frustrating show I think I've ever watched in my whole life, and yet I could not stop watching it. I wanted to see it through.
I love that show, especially when they were making insane decisions. And I would text Rebecca, and I would be like, the things that happened in this last episode, I cannot wait for you to experience.
So we will have a season 4 review coming soon at some point. I might have to refresh.
I'm gonna have to.
A lot of it.
I'm gonna have to.
But we do. Too. We almost have a complete series review of The Way Home for you to enjoy on the Supergirl Radio Patreon.
We'll alert you when we've posted our
we'll let everybody know.
Final season review. Riley's third question. Do you have any comic recommendations similar to Woman of Tomorrow? I especially love stories where Kara gets to be incredibly powerful while also showing why she's such a compassionate protector. I'd love to read more stories where she really gets to shine as the hero she is. Also, if you each had one Supergirl comic that every fan should read at least once, what would it be?
My recommendation, aside from Woman of Tomorrow, is the Sterling Gates story called Bizarro Girl. This is a story where Supergirl has to help Bizarro Girl and has to get her home. And it is the story that, like, I always liked Supergirl, but Bizarro Girl made me love Supergirl because you talk about a character who is compassionate. That story, the way that she treats Bizarro Girl in that comic and really feels for her and tries to help her, I think is a really good example of who Supergirl is as a character. So I think that would be my recommendation is you can read all of the Sterling Gates run, but Bizarro Girl in particular, I think is a really good story.
That one's so good. I don't think I've read that. So, because when I started, it was after you guys had covered the Sterling Gates.
Right.
And then I kind of imagined that at some point we were going to go back around.
We
might go back around.
We could.
So I've had a pin in it for a while where I'm like, I should really read the Sterling Gates. It's like, but we might end up reading it for the podcast. So maybe I should wait. But now you're like making me feel like, oh, I got to read that.
Yeah. If anything, read Bizarro Girl.
Nice. Oh, this one's tough. I really like it. I feel like it's a little cheating, but I really like the current Sophie Campbell run. I think it's really great. It's informed by the character's past, but it doesn't feel like it's too hung up there. It's giving her, a lot of stuff to do. It's comic booky, but it's like she's still kind of grounded on Earth. I think it's a really good intro to somebody who knows a little bit about the character but wants to learn more. And I feel like it even though it does have a lot of Easter egg and references to like Silver Age, 80s, 70s Supergirl, I don't feel like it's the kind of thing where I am confused all that often, or feel like I can't understand what's happening without like historical comic context, because it's usually provided in the story. And besides that, I'd say I really remember liking Supergirl being super. Now, I haven't read that in a very, very long time.
And that's one that I've been holding out on reading so we can discuss it on the podcast.
I haven't read. Yeah. Oh my God. We should end up putting a schedule together that's like the things we've been holding off. But that one I remember really enjoying. And like Woman of Tomorrow, it's more of a self-contained story. I think it's only like 4 issues or something like that. It's pretty short. And it feels very accessible to somebody who isn't super steeped in comic book lore. So I feel like, if I'm giving somebody a Supergirl comic for the first time and they haven't read any Supergirl, I'm probably giving them Woman of Tomorrow. But if not, I feel like that would be like a good backup.
And the Sophie Campbell run, the great thing about that is even if you don't realize it, when you're reading it, you're being seeped into Supergirl history.
Yes.
So I think that's a great starter for somebody. Even if they are not conscious of it, they are taking in Supergirl's history as they read it. And
I think that's a good
really
point.
Cool.
Because I think you could read a lot of the, you could read like the Rebirth or the New 52 or something and like not know anything about the Linda bots. But if you read the Sophie Campbell run and then you would encounter the Linda bots at some point in the future, you're just like, oh yeah, that's right. That was that robot she left in a tree. And I think it's these wacky concepts from the Silver Age stuff are introduced in a kind of a grounded way, but also are explained. So that I feel like it's new reader accessible.
Yeah.
I don't obviously we know quite a bit about Supergirl, so I can't say it's 100% new reader accessible because I wouldn't know, but it does feel like it's explained enough that a new reader wouldn't be like, wait, what? Because it's like it shows like a flashback of her leaving that robot in that tree. So
good stuff.
Riley says, before I wrap up, I just wanted to say something to each of you individually. Rebecca, I've always admired how you've handled criticism over the years. It can't be easy sharing opinions in such a passionate fandom, but you've consistently stayed true to yourself while treating people with kindness and respect. As a fellow Christian, I've appreciated seeing someone who's been a role model in living out her faith while also being unapologetically passionate about comics. In a community that can sometimes become pretty toxic, that's something I've genuinely respected and looked up to.
And that's something that has to be practiced, Riley. That is not something that is innate to me as a person. I have found myself sometimes getting angry about things or getting frustrated by things people say. But I think with anything, the more you practice it, the better you get at it. And knowing when to engage with people who are toxic and when not to is also something that needs to be practiced, because not everybody needs to hear your opinions because they're never going to listen. They're never going to hear you out. So that's something that I've learned over the years. I mean, I've probably been practicing this seriously for about since we started the podcast. So 11 years plus maybe a few years before that, I've really been practicing engaging with other people in a way where I was trying to hear them out and they were trying to hear me out. And so it's just something that has to be, it's not natural to me. And so I have to practice it. So I hope that comes through on the podcast and everything that we do. And that comes for Morgan and me. And of course we have guests and people who come on the podcast that are not regulars. But I think it comes from a place of mutual respect for people. I care about Morgan as a person and as my friend. And so I am not going to come at her with a lot of vitriol about her opinions because I care about Morgan as a person. And so I think that's just something that anytime you engage with somebody like that, even if they're terrible, even if they're so nasty, I've been around some really nasty people, and it's just something that I have to consciously remind myself that I have to figure out how I'm going to do this in a very calm way. And so you have to intentionally think about that. So I'm hopefully listening to Supergirl Radio is a way to sort of, for all of us to practice that. So I'm glad to hear that some of these things are coming through, because I have dealt with my fair share of criticism about me personally. And so, so that is something that you just have to practice it.
Yeah, I mean, I find that some of the, the fandom spaces and the fan spaces, they get really passionate about things and then they get really angry about things. And then you're just like, okay, but at the end of the day, why aren't we just being more chill about this? And some people just kind of can't get there with you. And sometimes that's the moment where you're like Alex Danvers once said, you got to touch the grass, you got to get that grass. You got to get out. You got to step away from the conversation. You're just like, you know what? We're good.
And once you practice it, I've been able to start to learn, who are those people that I know are just they're not going to pay any attention to anything I say, whether they agree with it or not. So sometimes I just have to recognize, if I engage with this person, it's like talking
sometimes
to a brick
you got to
wall.
pick your battles. You got to pick your battle. You're like, listen, we're not talking about that.
Yeah. So I think that's I'm relieved to hear that like sometimes the way that we talk about things is helpful to other people. If it's either, having difficult conversations or dealing with criticism. So I'm glad that some of what we have done here may be helping other people practice that as well.
We try our best.
We do.
Riley goes on to say, Morgan, your humor has brought so much joy to every episode, and Legendary Ladies quickly became another favorite podcast of mine because of you. If life ever allows, I'd absolutely love to see Legendary Ladies make a comeback. Fingers crossed, you guys. Until then, I'll keep hoping. You introduced me to so many stories and characters I probably never would have discovered otherwise. That is so nice.
I think it's cool that there are people like Riley who enjoy you, Morgan, so much on Supergirl Radio that they are willing to listen to another podcast just to get more of you. I think that's pretty cool.
It is very humbling, actually. I'm like sweating over here. There's too many compliments, honestly. I am stressed. Riley says, Supergirl Radio has genuinely been part of my life for almost a decade, from middle school to high school to college and now into my career. It's been one of those rare constants that's been there through every chapter. I don't think 13-year-old me would have believed she'd still be listening nearly a decade later. Riley, we didn't think so either. If we're shooting straight with you, neither did we. She says, back then I was just looking for other people who love superheroes as much as I did. What I found was a community that reminded me it was okay to be unapologetically passionate about the things I love. Thank you for not just talking about Supergirl, but for creating that community for so many of us. Thank you for every review, every debate, every working it or wiggy, every comment the super horse moment, and every conversation that's reminded me why I fell in love with comics in the first place. Here's to many more adventures with Kara, many more great discussions, and hopefully a few more Legendary Lady episodes along the way. That was so lovely. I feel like embarrassed that I got complimented so much.
I intentionally wanted you to read that.
Oh, yeah, it was too much. It was too much for me. But there was a couple moments where I was like, no, don't you tear up. Don't you tear up because you're feeling things. Well, that was such a sweet email.
And Riley, thank you for contributing to Supergirl Radio.
I feel like listening so long.
You could have quit after 5 episodes, and just
a lot of people did.
But I always think about Supergirl Radio as not just being you and me, Morgan. Like there's so many other people contributing.
It's like a community. I kind of think of it.
The live chat, people on social media, people who send us email, who take the time to write out emails to send to us.
Yeah, well,
that's a huge thing.
It's amazing that Riley has been listening for so long, and I love hearing from listeners, because we have our frequent listeners who chime in, who I feel like we know, but there's a whole contingent of people who have maybe been listening for a while who don't always write in, and I love hearing from them in particular, because it feels like a secret friend I just found out about that I have that I didn't know about before.
So that's great to hear from you, Riley, and to everybody who sent us emails for this episode of Supergirl Radio. So thank you for sharing your thoughts,
and congratulations, Riley, on a job well done in school.
As someone who is about to start my master's degree and go into graduate school, I am taking inspiration from Riley for being able to go to school and have a full-time job and do things in this.
Not easy.
I'm like, I need to learn how to do. That's going to be something that I'm going to have to practice.
I get home from work and it's bed rotting time. I don't know how Riley's doing it.
So that's awesome. Well, we're glad if we helped you in any way meet those goals. So congratulations on all of that. Well, that's going to get us wrapping up Supergirl Radio. If you want to contact us, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on X and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Supergirl Radio is part of the DCTV Podcast and Multiverse of Color Network. So if you want to go and check out those websites and all the social media so that you can catch up with those platforms. You can hang out with us as we go live and wired on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the DCTV Podcast YouTube channel. So make sure you are subscribed so you know when we go live. And DCTV Podcast also has a TeePublic store. So if you're in need of some Supergirl, some DC, some DCTV, some Lobo related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, magnets, tote bags, pins, phone cases, pillows, or stickers, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
And since Lobo was featured in the Summer of Supergirl Special #1, we have added some new Lobo designs for all the low bros in the DCTV Podcast TeePublic store.
The Lobos have a lot of new good things there on TeePublic. So we have some designs that are just Lobo, or we have designs that are Lobo and Supergirl. So I don't know that I love this trend to have Lobo in more Supergirl stuff. I don't know that he needs to be a minor character in the Supergirl stories, but for the time being, I think it's cool that Lobo and Supergirl are a dynamic that people are enjoying and that people want to see. So we have new designs in the TeePublic store if you want to go check those out. If you need stuff for Comic Con, for Dragon Cons coming up, so there's a lot of we're kind of in the thick of con season.
It's time.
Yeah. So that's very exciting. So if you need stuff for the Summer of Supergirl, check us out. And we would like to thank our legion of super sponsors for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael, Sam, Anne Maria, Yvonne, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Majuba, Annie, Rachel, and Kit. If you would also like to become a legion of super sponsor and listen and watch our Way Home reviews, you can do that at patreon.com/Supergirl Radio and support the podcast that way. If you want to keep up with me on the interwebs, you can find me on Vero True Social at Derby Kid, where I share what I'm listening to and what I'm watching. Sometimes what I'm reading, when I actually get to read a book every now and then. I do that over on Vero True Social. I'm also on Instagram at the Derby Kid. You can find my YouTube channel at youtube.com/DuckMilkProd. I also have a travel blog I do with my brother called at Oasis Broom. We're on all the platforms. You can see some of our trip to Boston and some of our America 250 cruise. If you're interested in that, we went to the Newport, Rhode Island area where we got to go into a mansion called the Breakers.
I've been wanting to do the Newport, Rhode Island, like big millionaires row for so long.
Yeah, there's a I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but I think one of the houses is like mostly made of just marble.
Yes, there's like a marble house or something like that. I think you very excitedly called it like it's the marble something or other.
It's like the marble house or something.
Could you imagine tripping in there? That's over. It's lights out.
Are you just throwing money away? Like, how much money do you have? Did you make your whole house out of marble? Wow, that's wow.
Yes. It's a insane amount of money that they must have spent. But I'm just like, logistically, that house is a death trap. Like,
you're going to hurt yourself.
You're falling and you ain't getting up in the marble.
You don't even have like carpet to softly kind of land on.
It's gonna hurt.
Yes. So if you want to check out some of my travels, we're there on the social medias.
I've been enjoying watching your travels when you went on the cruise. All the cool places.
Trying to start that kind of social media travel vlogging back up. It was a funny thing about America 250 cruise. The first port we went to was Canada. Because I think
the best way to celebrate America is Canada.
I wasn't aware, but I think if you're in the New England area, it's like a maritime law that you have to go to. You have to go to another country.
That's really funny.
It's insane.
You have to visit Canada. It's a law.
Maritime law. You have to come to Canada.
It sounds fake what you're saying.
It does sound fake, but I think that's why we did it. I don't think we had a choice.
So good.
So thank you for following our travels.
And you can catch me on the internet at Mojotastic on Twitter and Instagram, and also as a co-host on the Legendary Ladies podcast, as Riley so generously shouted out. We have been having the hardest time scheduling things because our schedules have been crazy. But you can actually, if you are going to San Diego Comic-Con, you will see a familiar face because Kat has quite a few panels And you should make sure to look up the schedule because I do not remember them offhand. And go to Kat's panel. She's got one about, I think, kickstarting comics and a bunch of other ones like that. And then I think hopefully after Comic-Con craziness dies down, we will find a recording date sometime in August. So fingers crossed, the stars align for the Legendaries ladies. But the best way to keep up with us is really just to subscribe to the podcast or follow us on YouTube or Instagram or at the Legendary Ladies.
Can I put in a request to hear your review of the Odyssey? I would love to hear all of your takes on the Odyssey.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm hoping to see it. Fingers crossed. I'm planning to see it on Thursday. So I found an IMAX Thursday. We wanted to see it like over the weekend. Thursday was the soonest we could find a seat that wasn't in the front row of an IMAX. And I was like, I will not see it that way. I simply refuse.
I would not recommend it. I looked up the best seats for IMAX. I've always known to go up kind of to the top. Christopher Nolan said 2/3 of the way back, whatever that means.
Okay, Chris.
So I usually sit like 4 or 5 rows from the back in the center. So just if you ever need to, the earliest I could go was this Saturday, which is a week after it opened at 10 a.m. That was
10 a.m.
Yeah, so I'm going at 10 a.m. And then I'm gonna go the next Sunday afternoon with some different people. So it's
fun.
I've had to wait a little bit just so I could get those good primo center seats. Because otherwise you're having to do the sides or like the front.
I remember years and years ago, me and some friends went to go see The Dark Knight in IMAX in like New York City. And we ended up sitting too close to the IMAX screen.
Oh no.
And when they do those like swooping camera motions, I remember feeling as if I was moving and being like, ah. And I remember that the movie getting off and we all turned to each other and I was like, is anyone else a little scared?
Were you like did it make you nauseous? Was it making you sick?
It didn't. It was just like too close. So like when you like Two-Face turn around, I was like, I'm in his face. And like, if you're that close to the screen, The Dark Knight is kind of a horror movie. Like the Joker was really scary. I don't know if I'm like actually selling this or not. Actually, I kind of came out of there like a little shaken by the.
You're like traumatized.
I was like, oh my god, that movie like happened to me. Like, Rachel. So I've kind of learned from that experience that I've had too close to the screen experiences, and both of them were like horrible opportunities for that to happen. The other one was The Ring. I was in the first row.
Why did you sit so close to the screen for The Ring? She comes out of the screen.
And it felt like she was coming right at me. It was terrifying. To this day, I think it's like one of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
I had trouble sleeping the night I went to go see it. And someone called me on the phone and I was like, no, this is what happens in the movie.
I had to sleep with my TV on, which is so ironic considering the plot of The Ring.
I had to go home and like watch comedies. I had to put on some old Nick at Night or something. So I
gotta calm myself down. I just remembered like we were in the first row and it was like we were so close to the screen that they show like a newspaper at one point, and I had to do this with my head to like read the newspaper headline. I had to like move my head from side to side to get it all. And I was terrifying. Like, this never again will I sit in the first row. I don't care. We'll go see it a different day.
Yeah. I would not recommend it.
Because this was like rough. This is for the kids in the audience, of which apparently there are some. This was like way back before you like bought your seats in advance and sat in like the nice comfy chairs. So you would just go to the movie and you would just like go into the theater and you'd hope it wasn't completely packed. But sometimes you'd walk in and you'd be like, uh-oh.
No assigned seats.
Yeah. So then you had to figure out
for all
what you're going to do. And the only seats that were available were in the front row. And we decided instead of being like, let's not do this, to be like, strap in.
I'm tempted to go see the Odyssey also in 4DX.
Is that the one where like
yes.
the thing moves?
I was gonna try to do it for Supergirl, but then like the Odyssey kicked Supergirl out of that theater, and I didn't get a chance to do it. But I've seen some videos popping up on the internet of people doing it, and like people are like screaming, and like the water's like coming at them, and I'm like, oh no, I maybe don't know if I can handle that. But it would be an experience. I think if you're gonna do it, the Odyssey is probably the best one to do it.
The Odyssey is a good one. I remember like last year or the year before when they had Twisters come out.
Oh,
people said they saw that in it, and they were like, I was like in a Twister. I was like, yeah, that's a good one too.
I'm really tempted to do if I can.
If you do that, I want you to report. You got to report back on what that was like.
So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping to see the Odyssey in a couple of different formats, but yeah, it's been fun to hear people talk about IMAX because I think it's amazing. But yeah, so that is the things that are coming up, and I hope that the Legendary Ladies talk about it. Okay. Well, I think we have talked about so much in this episode of Supergirl Radio. Lots of things.
A jumbo-sized episode for you all.
for the Summer of Supergirl, you really got a jam-packed episode of the podcast. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. And I didn't write a tagline for us at the end. So I don't know if you want to come up with
I guess I got to just think on my feet. It's fine.
Can you improvise? Do you have something
We'll
in
find
mind?
out, won't we?
That's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon. And thank you for joining us for the Summer of Supergirl.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!